Chapter 360. There were so many demons. If they were all killed, it would mean that they would all be resurrected and return to the demon abyss. In this way, if one day these demons broke out of the demon abyss, it would be a disaster. However, Qin Shujian did not know much about the demon abyss now. He only knew that the demon abyss was in outer space, but he did not know where it was. The demons can only come out of the demon abyss when they are born in the region. There must be other places that are connected to this world. The Great Zhao only sealed the demons and did not kill them. They want to weaken the strength of the demon abyss. It seems that the demons may have other means to enter this world. Otherwise, there is no need for the Great Zhao to only seal the demons and not kill them. The reason for doing this is because they are worried that the demons will be reborn in the demon abyss. Information flashed through Qin Shujian's mind. He had a rough idea of what Great Zhao was trying to do, even if these guesses had no basis. But he also believed the truth would not be too different from his guesses. So, the strength of the demon abyss really shocked Qin Shujian. Tens of thousands of devas. What kind of powerful force was this? And these demons were not the full strength of the demon abyss. Who knew how many more demons were hidden in the unknown demon abyss? He thought about it. He suddenly felt a little speechless about his previous thoughts of killing his way into the demon abyss. With his array Dao Grandmaster level, if he was placed in the demon abyss, he would not live for more than 3 seconds. Even the human emperor would not be able to defeat tens of thousands of devas. Otherwise, the demon race would not have been able to be so rampant until now. They would have been wiped out by the human emperor alone. Although Qin Shujian understood the hidden dangers of the demon abyss, he also knew the good intentions of the Great Zhao. But for him, these hidden dangers were things that would happen later. For Qin Shujian now, the most important thing was to get enough luck points and life sources. As long as his strength increased, then all the problems would no longer be problems. If his strength did not increase, not to mention the hidden dangers of the demon abyss, whether he could survive the turmoil of the Great Zhao would be a problem. He would not be able to live that far. He could not think so far ahead. Furthermore, Qin Shujian also admitted that what he had said to Xiao Hong, Zhao Shanlin, and the others was not wrong. A large number of evil spirits being reborn in the Devil Abyss would undoubtedly increase the number of hidden dangers. But at the same time, so many demons were sealed in the Great Light. In the past, when the human emperor was still alive and oversaw the world, everything was under the control of the imperial court. The probability of the demons breaking out of the seal was extremely small. Once there was a demon disaster, the imperial court would immediately send troops to suppress it. However, things were different now. With the death of the human emperor, the Great Zhao was in turmoil. These sealed evil demons became the most unstable existences. Once chaos broke out and a large number of evil spirit seals were destroyed, the evil spirits that broke out of the seals would be enough to turn the entire world into a demonic domain. At that time, it didn't matter if you were a human or a demon, you would all die. It was also because of this. Qin Shujian was certain that Marquis Baiyun would not reject his suggestion. One was a disaster that was right in front of them, while the other was a hidden danger that could erupt in the future. It was not difficult to choose between the two. After digesting the contents of the jade, Qin Shujian put away the token, then got up and went to the stone forest and the area near the Endless Mountain Range in Liang Mountain to check again. As expected, the two demon-slaying formation patterns that were originally left behind no longer existed. Seeing this, Qin Shujian once again engraved a demon-slaying formation pattern in the void to deter the demon beasts. Without the demon beasts driving them, with the low intelligence of the demon beasts, the threat of their life instincts was enough to make them shrink back. With the number of demon beasts that was comparable to the human race, it was basically impossible to kill them all. Regarding this matter, Qin Shujian also had a neutral attitude. Although there were hidden dangers in killing endless demon beasts, it also meant that there was a large amount of life source for him to plunder. After that, Qin Shujian went to the various branches to check on the stone statues. This large formation was his true masterpiece. The stone statue's material was extraordinary, and the place where it was located could connect to the spiritual energy of the earth veins. Besides, the disciples of the sect worshipped it day and night. so it already contained a trace of mysterious power. Even if this trace of power was very weak, it was still full of mystery. But unfortunately, when the large formation was activated, everything was consumed. Now the stone statue was still an ordinary stone statue. Except for the extraordinary hardness of the material, there was nothing magical about it. In Qin Shujian's view, if he wanted to activate the previous large formation and exert a strong power, it would take at least 1 or 2 years to recover. Of course, for him now, 1 or 2 years was just a snap of his fingers. Even when he was in seclusion to engrave a formation, it took him 3 months. Who dared to say that 1 or 2 years was a long time? And previously, Marquis Baiyun went deep into the endless mountain range to kill the celestial being demon beasts. In a short period of time, the possibility of attacking Baiyun Mansion again was not high. After all, such a deterrent was enough to make some demon experts wary. Unless the demon race was really planning to start a full-scale war with the human race now. Otherwise, the demon race would not act so easily. If the demon race did not dare to attack Baiyun Mansion, the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain would naturally be safe. Speaking of which, this time, the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain was also heavily damaged by the beast tide. Ever since the Yuan sect changed from attacking to defending, some of the demon beasts passed through the Yuan sect's territory and headed to other regions. Along the way, there were also many sects that were destroyed by the demon beasts. The strength of the entire Liang Mountain Spirit Domain was not light. It took 2 days to travel from Liang Mountain City through the teleportation formation. The testing sword peak crossed from Baiyun Mansion to Nanfeng Mansion. In the Great Zhao 13 mansions, only Qinshan, Nanfeng, and Fallen Moon mansions were in chaos. The marquises of the 3 mansions rebelled and fought with the imperial court. In addition, there were experts involved, making the already murky pond even murkier. The testing sword peak chose to go to Nanfeng Mansion after careful consideration. After all, these 3 mansions were the most chaotic among the 13 mansions. Therefore, the safest place to release the demons that broke the seal would be these mansions. They would not attract too much attention. People from Qinshan Mansion and Fallen Moon Mansion had already gone there. Only Nanfeng Mansion was left. "Sir, please take care. Please come again." Amidst the enthusiastic voice of the waiter, Testing Sword Peak walked out of the inn and headed to the teleportation gate. He was prepared to head to the other True Dominion in Nanfeng Mansion. The cities in the Ordinary Dominion did not have a teleportation gate. Only the big cities of the True Dominion and above were qualified to have a teleportation gate. After he left the teleportation gate, someone immediately approached him and asked, "Where did that person go?" As he spoke, he flashed his identity token. The soldier guarding the teleportation gate did not intend to answer. However, after seeing the identity token, his expression changed slightly. Then, he said, he went to the Shanghe Spirit Domain's Red Phoenix City. The Shanghe Spirit Domain? Upon hearing this, that person exchanged glances with the 2 people beside him. Finally, he said to the soldier, "We are also going to the Shanghe Spirit Domain's Red Phoenix City." After he finished speaking, after paying the teleportation fee, the 3 of them disappeared into the teleportation gate. On the other side, after coming out of the teleportation gate of Red Phoenix City, Testing Sword Peak walked out of the city gate and headed outside. He had already investigated before coming to the Shanghe Spirit Domain. Red Phoenix City happened to be located at the border of the Shanghe Spirit Domain. A short distance away was the True Dominion. After the True Dominion was the Ordinary Dominion. With the speed of an airborne realm cultivator, it would not take too long to travel from Red Phoenix City to the Ordinary Dominion. The only thing Testing Sword Peak needed to consider was whether the Ordinary Dominion had a place to seal the evil spirits. However, not long after flying in the air, 3 cultivators were also flying in the air behind him. The one who caught up with him later blocked his path. "Friend, please wait," Tian Rue said with a smile and cupped his hands enthusiastically. "What's the matter?" Testing Sword Peak's expression was normal as he looked at them indifferently. Seeing the other party's calm attitude, Tian Rue's eyes were slightly solemn. Then, he said with a smile, "We saw your elegance in the air from afar, so we came to make friends with you. May I know which sect you are from?" "I don't belong to any sect. I'm just an itinerant cultivator, testing Sword Peak said indifferently. Then he said, please make way. We are the ones who are rude. Tian Rue smiled faintly. Then, he signaled the other two with his eyes and made way for them. Then, testing Sword Peak directly flew into the air and left. It was also at this moment. 3 terrifying attacks exploded behind him and then bombarded him. Tian Rue's originally gentle face was now full of a sinister smile. He did not belong to any sect, but he was carrying a high-grade spirit weapon on his back. It was not easy to meet such a person. For an airborne realm cultivator, a high-grade spirit weapon was definitely an irresistible temptation. One had to know, a high-grade spirit weapon was the limit that ordinary cultivators could reach. No one could have a Dao weapon above that unless they were a cultivator with a deep foundation or a powerful sect. Not to mention the airborne realm, even in the God martial arts realm, there were not many experts who could have a Dao weapon. So, after a simple test of testing Sword Peak, Tian Rue decided to snatch the other party's spirit weapon. It was not the first time he had done such a thing. He cultivated a martial art that could see through spiritual objects. Similar to the thing in front of him, it was not the first time Tian Rue had done it. With the strength of 3 airborne realm cultivators, the probability of success against a cultivator of the same level, and in the case of preemptive strikes, was not small at all. However, testing Sword Peak seemed to have expected it. Before the attacks could reach him, he gently moved his feet, causing all the attacks to miss. Chapter 361. In the next moment, his body swept across the sky like a ghost. The long sword on his back was suddenly unsheathed. The sword aura that had been accumulating for a long time burst out. In an instant, it was as if the sky was falling and the earth was splitting, shaking the void violently. The sword was like flowing light. It was as if the sky was falling. In just an instant, Tian Rue's expression changed greatly. This terrifying aura, it made his mind suffer a great impact. Especially Test Jianfeng's movement technique, it was simply fast to the extreme. Before the afterimage in front of him dissipated, the tip of the sword had already pierced towards him. The dense and sharp chill even caused Tian Rue to feel a slight piercing pain in his throat. Retreat. This was his first reaction. Moreover, Tian Rue did indeed do so. As he retreated, his storage ring flashed and a long sword appeared in his hand. Immediately after, a powerful sword force slashed out in an attempt to force test Jianfeng back. Boom! The tip of the sword trembled slightly like a breeze. When it touched the sword aura suddenly collapsed. Tian Rue was shocked again. The long sword in his hand exploded with a cold aura. This time, he did not retreat. Instead, he turned around and closed in. The sword transformed into many afterimages. The terrifying sword light was swallowing and spitting out, giving people a great sense of intimidation. At the same time, the other two also made their move at the first moment, and their fierce attacks had already erupted. In an instant, Test's sword fell into a situation of 1 against 3. However, facing the attacks of the 3, sword lotuses seemed to have appeared under his feet. His body seemed to be slow, but it was actually just an afterimage. When he raised his hand, a shocking sword aura burst out. No matter how fierce the attacks of the 3 were, they were all defeated. On the contrary, every sword of Test's sword could make the 3 of them feel as if they were facing a great enemy. They had no choice but to use powerful means to deal with it. Vietnam War. Tian Rue was even more shocked. They were all in the airborne realm, but he found that the other party's strength was far above his. Facing 3 experts of the same realm, he could still be so leisurely. His strength could be said to be terrifying. This kind of strength, he was probably comparable to a great cultivator of the prominent divine realm. Until now, how could Tian Rue not know that he and the others had kicked an iron plate this time? When another powerful attack burst out, his body retreated in the opposite direction. At the same time, he shouted, "It's difficult to deal with, let's retreat." Before he finished speaking, the other 2 also did the same thing. Shortly after, the 3 of them fled using flight evasion. The next second, 36 figures appeared in their line of sight. Then, a black sword light occupied the void. Afterimage. Illusory sword. When Tian Rue saw the 36 afterimages and the terrifying sword light, several thoughts flashed through his mind. Soon after, a faint golden light flashed in his eyes, as if he wanted to see through something. 36 afterimages. Only one of them was real, and the other 35 were fake. What he needed to do now was to find the flaw in his opponent's move in the blink of an eye and resolve the crisis before him. It was a martial art that cultivated the eyes. Other than being able to see through spiritual objects, it could also see through illusions. It was Tian Rue's most powerful reliance in the cultivation world. It was only for a moment. He made his decision. The long sword in his hand emitted a sword radiance, with powerful earth energy attached to it. Then, he slashed at one of the afterimages. Boom! When the two collided, a terrifying gang chi exploded in an instant. Powerful shockwaves spread out, causing a series of explosions. That's right. A slight smile appeared on Tian Rue's face, but it quickly froze on his face. Because, in the next moment, he had been pierced by several sword radiances. When his blood spilled into the sky, a sharp pain surged into his heart. How could I be wrong? Tian Rue's face showed confusion. The sword attack just now was clearly real. Why would he be wrong in his prediction? When he was falling from the sky, Yizichen's eyes lit up. He also saw that his other two companions were also in the same situation as him. Suddenly, Tian Rue's eyes showed relief. It turned out that it was all real. But soon, the power in his body erupted in an instant, completely destroying his life force, causing his vision to fall into darkness. When the bodies of Tian Rue and the other two fell, Tess Jianfeng also came to their side. Seeing the three of them die with their eyes open, his expression did not change at all. It had to be said, Tian Rue and the other two were indeed strong. If he did not use the 7 kills against the stars, the 3 of them might have been able to escape. Unfortunately, after the long sword in his hand transformed into a high-grade spiritual weapon, the 7 kills against the stars became even more powerful. Not to mention the 3 airborne realm cultivators. Even if they were prominent divine realm cultivators, Tess Jianfeng was also confident that he could use this move to kill the other party. A mere 3 airborne realm cultivators was naturally not a problem. Then, Tess Jianfeng bent down and took the storage rings from the 3 of them. As for the middle-grade spiritual weapons in the hands of the other 2, he also took them. When he saw that the 2 of them had middle-grade spiritual weapons in their hands, he understood a little in his heart. The reason why the other party still dared to attack and kill him when they knew that he was also an airborne realm cultivator and had a high-grade spiritual weapon in his hands. Immediately, Tess Jianfeng searched the 3 of them again. In the end, he did not find anything useful and finally stopped. After being with Qin Shujian for a long time, he had also slowly developed this kind of character that did not waste things easily. If he did not take the things, then he would return to heaven and earth with the other party. If he did not take it, it would be a waste. After putting away the 3 storage rings, Tess Jianfeng's spiritual force flew into the sky and left. This was already the border of the Shang and the spirit domain. If he went further, he would reach the boundary of the true domain. It was close to where he wanted to go. It was also not too far away. In just half a day, whenever he crossed a boundary, invisible shackles would descend from the sky, forcefully reducing his strength to the peak of the true martial realm. And when he completely entered the ordinary domain, Tess Jianfeng's realm had already stabilized at the peak of the basic realm. Walking in the ordinary domain, what he could see was a scene of devastation. In addition to the North Cloud Manor being attacked by the Beast Tide, the Southwind Manor was also attacked by the Beast Tide. And in the ordinary domain, it was the weakest place in the Southwind Manor's defense. Therefore, this area was one of the victims of the Beast Tide. Entering the ordinary domain, his strength was suppressed to the extreme. At this time, Tess Jianfeng also did not have the ability to fly with his spiritual force. He could only rely on his feet in the ordinary domain to slowly find the place where the evil demon was sealed. In the ordinary domain, it was not big, but it was not small either. A normal cultivator at the peak of the basic realm would need about 2 or 3 days to walk through the entire ordinary domain. However, with Tess Jianfeng's speed, it would only take half a day to walk through the entire ordinary domain. Nothing? After walking around the ordinary domain, Tess Jianfeng frowned. The storage ring on his hand did not have the slightest reaction. This meant that there was no place where the evil demon was sealed in the ordinary domain, because there was an evil demon pendant in the storage ring. As long as there was an evil demon sealed within 30 miles, there would be a reaction. Very quickly, Tess Jianfeng left the current ordinary domain and went to the next ordinary domain to continue his exploration. Until the third ordinary domain, he found that the storage ring in his hand was emitting a slightly hot aura. Immediately, he took out the evil demon pendant from the storage ring. The source of the heat was from the pendant. Not long after, Tess Jianfeng turned left and right. Relying on the evil demon pendant's changes, he finally broke into a deep valley. In the deep valley, there was a thick fog all day long. No matter how strong the sun was, it could not pass through the fog. Even if it was daytime, it was as dark as night. The only difference was that it was different from night. It was not completely dark. Walking in the deep valley, Tess Jianfeng's perception was already at the maximum. He vigilantly observed the surrounding movements and then walked deeper in step by step. From Zhao Shanlin, he learned that any place where an evil demon was sealed would be accompanied by the existence of many monsters. Although the strength of these monsters was generally not strong, if one was not careful, it was still possible to capsize in the gutter. For this, Tess Jianfeng still maintained a cautious attitude. Flutter, flutter. The dense sound of wings flapping came from the fog. Then, a large group of stone-like gray bats rushed out of the fog and then rushed toward Tess Jianfeng. A large number of gray bats. It was as if they were covering the sky and the earth. Those sharp teeth could easily pierce a person's skin. If a normal person was surrounded by these things, in less than 2 seconds, his blood and qi would be completely absorbed. Therefore, Tess Jianfeng was also aware of the threat of the gray bats. Although he was an airborne realm cultivator, but in the ordinary domain, he was not much stronger than a cultivator of the 10th level of the martial realm. Therefore, when the gray bats rushed over, the long sword on his back had already been unsheathed. The cold sword light seemed to reflect something, and in an instant, it dispelled the darkness in his line of sight. The next second, the sword light poured out like water, killing any bats that tried to approach one by one. The upper-grade spiritual weapon was unusually sharp. It was an understatement to say that it could break jade and divide gold. How could these gray bats, which were at most in the basic realm, resist the attack of the upper-grade spiritual weapon? As the long sword slashed, dozens of gray bats were killed every second. But the number of gray bats seemed to be endless. Even after nearly 10 minutes, the number still did not decrease. Seeing this, Tess Jianfeng's eyes were slightly dignified. These monsters were very weak, but there were really many of them. Until now, at least tens of thousands of bats had died in his hands. But, looking at the gray bats that were still coming from behind, the number did not decrease at all. Seeing this, Tess Jianfeng also extinguished the thought of killing these gray bats. After taking out an energy recovery pill and swallowing it, the sword light burst out at the same time as his body finally rushed into the deep valley. There was no need to be entangled with these monsters for too long. What he wanted to do was to kill the evil demon inside. Chapter 362. Qin Shujian paused for a moment as he looked at his attribute panel. His luck value had increased by 10 points from his original foundation. Seeing this, a smile appeared on his face. His luck value increased. That was to say, some demons were killed by the disciples of the sect. This was a good thing for Qin Shujian. Luck value originally only had one function of upgrading Taoist artifacts, but now it had a conversion function. 10 points of luck value was equivalent to 1 million points of life source. 10 evil fiends meant 10 million life force sources. 100 demons meant 100 million points of life source. 1,000 demons meant 1 billion points of life source. There were nearly 100 demons in the Baiyun prefecture alone, so there must be many in other prefectures. Maybe 1,000 demons couldn't do it, but it should be possible to kill a few hundred demons. In this way, without upgrading Taoist artifacts, his life source would at least increase by a few 100 million points. So much life source. It was enough for him to enter the god martial arts realm. Suppressing the thoughts in his heart, Qin Shu Jian looked at the fortress in front of him, which was comparable to a small city. There were many guards on guard, and the fortress gate was tightly closed. It looked heavily guarded. When Qin Shu Jian approached, someone on the city wall suddenly shouted, "The fortress is an important place. Without the relevant written order, no one is allowed to approach. Violators will be killed without mercy." After the words, the guards on the city wall had already drawn their bows and aimed at Qin Shu Jian. On the dark arrowheads, there was a cold light. It proved that these arrows were not ordinary arrows, but sharp weapons specially made by the imperial court, which could break through the protective chi of physical invulnerability cultivators. However, although hundreds of arrows were aimed at him, Qin Shu Jian was still calm and said loudly, "I am Qin Shu Jian of Yuanzhong, and I have the order of Marquis Baiyun in my hand. Please open the fortress." While speaking, he had already taken out the token, and then used his vital essence to directly throw the token onto the fortress wall. Suddenly, on the wall of the fortress, a general reached out and took the token. When he touched it, there was not the slightest bit of impact. This caused him to stop in his tracks. He was preparing to forcefully take the token with his true essence, but he stopped in his tracks. As for the other party's name, his expression turned grave. Yuanzhong, Qin Shu Jian. This name was well known in the Baiyun mansion. However, the truly famous ones were Qin Shu Jian, the Realm Master of Spirit Realm and the Formation Grandmaster. In comparison, Yuanzhong's name had spread because of the other party's actions. Subsequently, the general held the token in his hand and looked at it seriously. Soon after, he said to the person beside him, "Open the door." After that, he had already turned around and left the city. Below, Qin Shu Jian was still standing there, waiting. Soon, the gate of the stronghold opened slowly. The general who had been on the wall walked out. He cupped his hands and said to Qin Shu Jian, "I'm Qi Zi-un, the commander of the limestone stronghold. I was just doing my job. I hope you don't mind." As he spoke, he handed the token back to Qin Shu Jian with both hands. Putting aside the other party's reputation, he had the token of Marquis Baiyun, so to a certain extent, he could represent Marquis Baiyun's arrival. Under such circumstances, Qi naturally did not dare to be rude. After receiving the token, Qin Shu Jian said, "I'm here to kill the demons under the orders of the Marquis." Kill the demons. Hearing this, Qi Zi's heart skipped a beat, and a look of shock appeared on his face. Kill the demons. This was something he had never thought of. Although the stronghold suppressed the demons, Qin Shu Jian came under the orders of Marquis Baiyun, and to a large extent, what he did was related to the demons. However, Qi Zi had never thought that the other party was here to kill the demons. He even thought that the other party was here to reinforce the seal. After all, Qin Shu Jian was a famous formation grandmaster. In addition, during this period of time, the demon's seal showed some signs of instability. It was normal for the other party to reinforce the seal at this time. However, after a short period of shock, Qi Zi's face was filled with joy, and he said, "Sect Master Qin, please come in with me." After that, he turned sideways and led the way. Then he led Qin Shu Jian into the stronghold. Following Qi Zi, Qin Shu Jian stepped into the stronghold, only to find that the layout inside was extremely simple, without the messy and fancy layout of an ordinary city. Except for the necessary living places, there were no extra buildings. Along the way, they encountered quite a number of soldiers. When these soldiers saw Qi Zi, they all stopped and saluted, then left. Walking in the stronghold, Qi Zi tilted his head and said, "This fortress has been built for more than 800 years. Every few years, soldiers will be rotated to guard the altar that seals the evil spirit in the fortress to prevent the evil spirit from breaking the seal and coming out." Qin Shu Jian on the other side. He remained silent and listened. After Qi Zi finished speaking, he said, "There was a beast tied in the Baiyun prefecture some time ago. Was the stronghold affected?" Upon hearing this, Qi Zi seemed to be more interested in talking. He then said, The beast tide attacked the stronghold some time ago, but it was stopped by the army and did not cause much of an impact. Cheesy and then said. Cheesy and also looked a little proud. Although the limestone fortress is not very strong, it is not something that can be broken through by the beast tide. Upon hearing this, Qin Shujian nodded in agreement. The stronghold had been built to suppress the demons. Naturally, such a place could not be easily broken through by others, or else the evil fiend's seal was far too weak. Ever since he had stepped into the limestone stronghold, Qin Shujian had discovered dozens of powerful auras hidden inside. Every aura had reached the limit of the true dominion. Moreover, there was a large number of soldiers. Although the 410-foot spiritual deity was suppressed by the shackles of the true dominion, its perception was still much stronger than that of others. When Qin Shujian's perception swept across the stronghold, he knew that there were at least tens of thousands of soldiers guarding the limestone stronghold. This was an army of tens of thousands. It was not an ordinary army. It was an elite army. This was because the soldiers he had encountered since he had entered were not weak. They had at least reached the peak of their chi and blood, 6th stage of the martial initiation realm. Only then could their chi and blood be at the peak of their chi and blood. Only the elites of the army could reach the 6th stage of the martial initiation realm. When he had followed Yin Saija and the others to battle, most of the soldiers were around the 2nd or 3rd stage of the martial initiation realm. Compared to the soldiers in the stronghold, the difference was like heaven and earth. However, this Qin Shujian could understand. After all, the stronghold was much smaller than an ordinary city, so it was difficult to accommodate too many soldiers. Under such circumstances, soldiers were valued for their quality, not for their quantity. Even Qi Ziun, who was beside him, was slightly shocked when his spirit eye flashed. 5th stage of the spirit martial realm. An airborne realm cultivator. An airborne realm cultivator would be considered an expert wherever he went. However, he was currently guarding the seal of the evil spirit in the True Dominion stronghold. This showed that the imperial court attached great importance to this matter. However, despite his shock, Qin Shujian frowned slightly and said, "Why do I sense some demonic qi in the spirit qi? Did something go wrong with the altar sealing the evil spirit?" Sect Master Qin's methods are indeed amazing. You were even able to detect this. Qi Ziyan, who had been full of admiration at first, spoke in a low voice with an ugly expression. 3 years ago, something went wrong with the altar sealing the stronghold. A weak demonic qi seeped out from within. Many soldiers near the altar were infected by the demonic qi and turned into members of the devil disaster. However, this unforeseen event was quickly suppressed and all the demonized soldiers were killed. However, the person who set up the altar was an Array Dao Grandmaster. Now that something has gone wrong with the seal, only an Array Dao Grandmaster can solve it. As he spoke, he looked at Qin Shujian, shook his head and sighed. Sect Master Qin, you should know that there was no Array Dao Grandmaster in the Baiyun Prefecture. As for why the Imperial Court did not send any Array Dao Grandmasters here, I am not sure either. Fortunately, Sect Master Qin is here today. Although you are not here to strengthen the seal of the evil spirit, the crisis of the Stone Rock Stronghold will be resolved as long as this evil spirit is killed. At the same time, the soldiers who have guarded the stronghold for many years without leaving will finally complete their mission. For the soldiers in the army, they wanted to go to war and kill the enemy, not stay in one place for many years without being able to move at all. If it had not been for the military order, some people would not have been able to bear such loneliness. Qin Shujian agreed with Qi Zi and the others' thoughts. However, what really caught his attention was the flaw in the seal. As long as the seal of an Array Dao Grandmaster is not severely damaged, such a problem will not occur even after thousands of years. Did someone destroy the altar sealing the altar? No. Qi Ziyan shook his head. Qi Ziyan shook his head and said firmly, "Except for our own people, no one has ever entered the fortress. As for the location of the sealed altar, it is also heavily guarded. No one can enter at all. Moreover, to destroy the altar, it will cause a lot of noise. It is impossible that we did not notice it. But in fact, the altar sealing the altar did have a problem. which led to the demonic chi leaking out. For this reason, the hundreds of elite soldiers around the altar became part of the demonic disaster. On the matter of the devil disaster, Qi Zian only briefly mentioned it. Obviously, he did not want to talk about it too much. After all, it was not a small loss to hundreds of elite soldiers. Then, he said again, "Sect Master Qin, you have come from afar. Why don't you take a rest in the stronghold for the night?" "No need. Take me to the altar sealing the altar." Chapter 363. Qi Zian thought that Qin Shujian was there to deal with the evil fiend in the limestone stronghold. Actually, his guess was not wrong. However, only Qin Shujian knew the truth. The evil fiend in the limestone stronghold was his target. The evil fiend in the other True Dominion strongholds was also his prey. Now, he had to do everything. He had to make every second count. Therefore, Qin Shujian did not have much time to talk nonsense with Qi Zian, let alone spend a night leisurely and slowly deal with the evil fiend. Qi Zian did not reject his request. His original words were just out of courtesy. Since Qi Zian was so eager to seal the altar, it was a good thing for the stronghold. After all, there was a problem with the seal. No one knew when the seal would suddenly break. When the time came, no one in the stronghold would be able to survive. The stronghold was strong, and there were many experts overseeing the stronghold. However, no one in the True Dominion was a match for the evil fiend, unless they were experts who had condensed the universal skylock. As for condensing the universal skylock, for thousands of years, Qin Shujian was the only one in the Baiyun Manor who had done so. Soon, following Qi Zian's lead, Qin Shujian walked into the fortress. Not long after, a small stronghold appeared in front of them. Qi Zian could tell that Qin Shujian was puzzled. Qi Zian explained, "Ever since there was a problem with the seal, the fiend Qi seeped out. In order to prevent the fiend Qi from contaminating the seal, I ordered people to build a small stronghold here. This is so that if there is a problem, we will not be helpless." Qin Shujian did not comment on this. If the evil fiend really broke out of the seal, building a few more strongholds would not make any difference, let alone building one more stronghold. Qi Zian and the others guarding this stronghold were no different from licking blood on the blade. It would be fine if there was no problem with the seal. However, if the seal really broke, if the evil fiend broke out of the seal, no one in the limestone stronghold would be able to escape. Not far from the inner fortress, Qin Shujian suddenly stopped. His eyes gazed into the distance. In addition to the light green spirit Qi, there were also traces of black devil Qi lingering around. When it came to the density of devil Qi, it was much stronger than the other places in the limestone stronghold. It would appear that there's a major problem with the seal here. Qin Shujian's expression turned grave when he saw the dense devil Qi. If the seal was intact, no matter how monstrous the devilish Qi was, it couldn't leak out at all. In a situation like this, the seal was basically broken. Once the seal was broken, it meant that the seal was no longer intact. If things continued like this, it was only a matter of time before the evil demon broke the seal. Seeing Qin Shujian stop, Qi Zian asked in confusion, "Sect Master Qin, is there a problem?" "No problem. Let's go in and take a look." "Sect Master Qin, please follow me." Qi Zian suppressed the doubts in his heart and walked to the front of the stronghold. He symbolically showed his identity token and led Qin Shujian inside. The passageways of the stronghold were endless. It indicated that Qi Zian must have spent a lot of effort to build this stronghold. After walking into the stronghold, Qin Shujian found that the devil Qi around him had become denser. As for the surrounding walls of the stronghold, there were runes engraved on them, which were suppressing the devil Qi. In Qin Shujian's opinion, the person who set up this array might not even be at the level of a formation master. The technique was too rough. The connection between the runes was not perfect. It could even be said that there were many loopholes. Such an array, if the evil fiend really broke out of the seal, it wouldn't be of any use at all. Even if a small amount of devil Qi was suppressed, it wouldn't be perfect. Or else, there wouldn't be any devil Qi spilling out, causing the entire stronghold to be faintly filled with devil Qi. When the stronghold was built, The Marquis sent an array master to set up the array.
Yes.
Qin Shujian nodded slightly and didn't say too much about the array. He knew that the array Dao of the Baiyun mansion was desolate, but he didn't expect it to be so desolate. The dignified Baiyun mansion could only send an upper-grade array master. They didn't even have an array master. Previously, Xiao Hong brought 30 people from the Baiyun mansion and asked him to train a few upper-grade array masters. He thought that the Baiyun mansion only wanted him to help train some potential array masters. But now it seemed he was afraid that the Baiyun mansion really didn't have an upper-grade array master. It wasn't as simple as just training potential array masters. After entering the stronghold, Qi Xian's expression became serious. He pointed to the front and said, "That's where the sealing altar is. Sect Master Qin, please follow me." While speaking, he took out 2 jade talismans from his storage ring and handed one over. This is a protective jade talisman. If you wear it, you won't be infected by the demon Qi. Qi Xian looked at the jade talisman in his hand. There was a faint flow of spirit Qi in it. Seeing this, Qin Shujian shook his head slightly and said, "Commander Qi, keep it for yourself. I don't need this kind of thing." Hearing this, Qi Xian didn't insist. After putting away one jade talisman, he held the other one in his hand. Then, he led the way in front. "Sect Master Qin, please follow me." "Please." Qin Shujian followed behind Qi Xian and walked toward the sealing altar. Speaking of the stronghold, in fact, the space inside was not small at all. After walking for a few minutes, the demon Qi had become denser. The ground below had been infected with a faint black color, but this kind of black color, compared to the demon earth that was completely infected by the demon Qi, it was still very different. But, seeing this scene, Qin Shujian's expression became subtle. As for Qi Xian, his expression was unprecedentedly solemn. Previously, the demon Qi hadn't reached the extent of infecting the ground. I don't know when it reached this point. When he spoke, his tone was full of solemnity. The jade talisman in his hand emitted a faint blue light, isolating the demon Qi in the surroundings. This time, Qi Xian was really shocked, because in his memory, although the demon Qi was overflowing, it had never reached such a serious extent. The extent of the destruction of the seal is already very serious, Qin Shujian said in a deep voice. He recalled that in the jade talisman that Marquis Baiyun had given him, he had emphasized that he hoped that he could take action and eliminate the demons in the limestone stronghold first. Originally, he thought that there was a small problem in the limestone stronghold, but now it seemed the problem was really big. The demon Qi had infected the ground. At least 10 to 20% of the seal had been broken. This level of destruction, to put it exaggeratedly, the demons could break out of the seal at any time. But judging from the demon Qi outside, it was definitely not as dense as this. Thoughts raced in his mind. Qin Shujian said in a serious voice, "The demons below must be accumulating strength to destroy the seal bit by bit. However, they are deliberately suppressing the demon Qi to not attract your attention." Sect Master Qin, do you mean that the demons intend to accumulate enough strength to break out of the seal? Qi Xian's heart pounded wildly. He knew very well. What did Qin Shujian mean? If the demons broke out of the seal, the entire limestone stronghold would be destroyed. Even if the experts from the imperial court wanted to help, they would not be able to make it in time. More importantly, once the demons broke out of the seal, the entire True Dominion would become a demon domain. When that time came, the other strongholds in the True Dominion would also be destroyed by the demons. Then he, Qi Xian, would be the center of the Baiyun Manor. Let's go and see what the demons intend to do. As he spoke, Qin Shujian was about to walk forward. Qi Xian suddenly said hesitantly, "Sect Master Qin, since the demons have already made plans, do you need to prepare anything in advance? Or do you want to go directly?" "They are just demons. There is no need to prepare anything," Qin Shujian said faintly. "Let's go." This time, he walked in front of Qi Xian. Now that they were not far from the sealing altar, they could see the few bronze pillars in the distance. Qi Xian saw Qin Shujian's confident expression. Qi Xian, who had been worried, was temporarily relieved. After all, the other party was an array Dao Grandmaster. It was rumored that he had broken the boundary of the true dominion and become the first Spirit Dominion Protectorate Lord in 1,000 years. With such strength, Qi Zian was too weak compared to the other party. Since Qin Shujian was so confident, Qi Zian could only choose to believe him. However, to be on the safe side, Qi Zian took out his communication jade talisman and sent a message out, asking the people in the stronghold to be on guard. If there was a problem, they could suppress the demons immediately. His actions were subtle. However, they did not escape Qin Shujian's perception. To this, Qin Shujian did not bother to pay attention to it. After all, the other party was the commander of the limestone stronghold. He did not care what the other party wanted to do as long as it did not affect him. As they went deeper, the density of the fiendish qi became very strong. However, although the fiendish qi was strong, it seemed to be suppressed by some force. As a result, the fiendish qi only lingered within 1,000 feet and did not spread too far. Soon, an altar seal appeared in front of Qin Shujian and Qi Zian. The 9 bronze pillars were arranged in a mysterious way. On the ground, a huge 9-star array was engraved. However, what could be seen was one corner of the 9-star array had cracked, and wisps of fiendish qi were seeping out. As for the 9 surrounding bronze pillars, one of them was half full of cracks, while the others were intact. Seeing this, Qin Shujian's eyes flickered. The 9-star array. In the ordinary realm, the most powerful sealing array Qin Shujian had ever encountered was the 8-star array. As for the 9-star array, this was the first time he had encountered it. The more powerful the formation was, the more powerful the evil spirit sealed within it would be. Chapter 364. Fortunately, the formation is only broken a little. Qi Zian was obviously relieved when he saw the 9-star formation. Such destruction. It was much better than he had imagined. Hearing this, Qin Shujian shook his head and sneered, "It's not just a little. Commander Qi has been deceived by this evil spirit." "What do you mean, Master Qin? It seems that only a corner of the formation is broken, but in fact, it has already spread outwards. Many parts of the formation have failed. Just a touch, and it will quietly break." Qin Shujian put his hands behind his back, looked at the formation in front of him, and said calmly, "Seriously speaking, half of the formation has been broken, and the power of the seal has been reduced to a limit. If it is not dealt with, the evil spirit will break the seal and come out in at most half a year." "What?" Qi Zian's face suddenly changed. At most half a year, the seal would break. Such a thing. It was simply beyond his expectations. Qin Shujian no longer paid attention to Qi Zian, but his eyes fell on the 9-star formation and said lightly, "Do you think I am right?" Silence. Still silence. Qi Zian looked at Qin Shujian in surprise, not knowing who he was talking to. There were only 2 of them here. There was a third person. Perhaps only the sealed evil demon could do it. Could it be the other party was talking to the evil spirit? Just as Qi Zian was guessing, an evil and tyrannical voice came from the altar, shaking the void and making it hum. "I didn't expect that the great Zhao would send an array master. What a surprise." Hearing this sentence, Qi Zian seemed to have heard a terrible voice. Looking in the direction of the altar, his body involuntarily took 2 steps back, and the long knife in his hand was directly unsheathed. "Don't be nervous." Qin Shujian's calm words sounded in his ears, which eased Qi Zian's nervous and solemn expression a little. But when he looked in the direction of the altar, he still did not relax for a moment. "What I am more surprised is that an evil spirit knows how to hide his strength and deliberately hide the fact that the formation is about to break. So what if you are an array master? Once I break out of my seal, I will take your life." After saying this, the entire seal of the 9 stars radiance array began to tremble violently. Originally, only a corner of the seal had cracked, but now, in the midst of the trembling, dense cracks began to spread from the corner to half of the seal altar. As for the 9 bronze pillars, at this moment, 4 of them had directly shattered and collapsed. Among the remaining 5, there was one that did not shatter. However, it was filled with cracks, as if it would collapse at any moment. Seeing this scene, Qi Xian's grip on the broadsword tightened. If he had been skeptical of Qin Shujian's words before, he would have believed that Qin Shujian was right. Then at this moment, he had already firmly believed in it. Half of the seal was already broken. How much longer could the remaining half suppress the evil spirit? When the other party said half a year, he was probably being optimistic. After recovering from his shock, Qi Zi immediately said, "Sect Master Qin, the evil spirit is attacking the seal." "I know." Qin Shujian waved his hand and then said to the evil spirit, "Your Excellency, you don't have to rush to attack the seal. I am not here to strengthen the seal." The trembling continued. The evil spirit below kept attacking the seal, turning a deaf ear to Qin Shujian's words. "Don't be nervous. There is really no need to be nervous. I am not here to strengthen the seal." The evil spirit's speed of attacking the seal seemed to have slowed down a little, but it still did not stop. "Forget it. This Qin will help you." Seeing this, Qin Shujian shook his head helplessly. Then, he drew the spirit Qi of heaven and earth and condensed it into runes, which then fell on the 9 stars radiance array. Immediately, the entire seal altar began to shake violently. The remaining 5 bronze pillars seemed to have suffered a terrible attack and collapsed bit by bit. As for the half of the seal that was originally intact, at this moment, when the runes fell, it was also destroyed inch by inch. Soon, the seal completely collapsed. The moment the seal was broken, the entire limestone fortress began to shake. Monstrous demon Qi suddenly erupted, covering the earth like black clouds, and was about to spread in all directions. At this moment, with a wave of Qin Shujian's hand, thousands of runes instantly condensed, forming a large array that covered the surrounding 1,000 feet. The demonic Qi that surged out was completely sealed, and it could only wreak havoc within the range of the array. When the monstrous demon Qi erupted, the jade talisman in Qi Zi's hand also shone brightly. Soon, the power of the jade talisman in his hand was exhausted and it disintegrated bit by bit. Seeing this, he immediately took out another jade talisman from his storage ring to maintain the green light. The moment the seal was broken, the entire garrison of the limestone fortress was alarmed. Those experts who were hidden were all shocked. The next moment, they gathered everyone and prepared to deal with the impending disaster. At the same time, some people were already preparing to spread the news that the evil spirit had broken the seal. "Commander Qi, you should retreat first and stabilize the hearts of the people in the limestone stronghold. Just leave this place to me." "Does Sect Master Qin need the garrison's help?" "No need." "Well, I'll wait outside for Sect Master Qin's news." Qi Zi did not refuse. He glanced at the altar with fear, then cupped his hands at Qin Shujian and directly withdrew from the large array. Since Qin Shujian was so confident, then he could only choose to believe. Now that the evil spirit had broken the seal, the limestone fortress would definitely be in chaos. As a commander, he needed to go out and preside over the overall situation. So, Qi Zi left without hesitation. As for whether the other side would gather people outside and be ready to attack the evil spirit at any time, it was not within Qin Shujian's control. As long as the other side did not send anyone to disturb him, that would be fine. As for other things, he could not ask for too much. The seal was broken. Thunder and lightning gathered. In an instant, monstrous thunder and lightning fell. However, with the appearance of the devil Qi, these lightning bolts did not have any effect. They were basically all bark and no bite. After a few symbolic strikes, they were done. For such a situation, Qin Shujian had already expected it. After all, this was not the first time he had encountered such a situation where he was struck by lightning a few times. Inside the cracked altar, only the demon Qi surged out, but there was no evil spirit inside. That evil spirit seemed to be afraid of something, or worried that Qin Shujian had some tricks up his sleeve, so he did not come out immediately. Seeing this, Qin Shujian sneered. Could it be that the nefarious devil race is as cowardly as a mouse? Since the seal is broken, they don't dare to come out. Since that's the case, I can only add another seal. Boom! As his words fell, a palm covered with scales appeared from the broken seal. With the appearance of the palm, the monstrous demon chi surged again. Very soon, a body that was dozens of feet tall had already appeared in Qin Shujian's line of sight. The moment the body appeared, the demon chi was like a hurricane, sweeping across the world. The array formation around trembled violently, as if it would break at any time. But even so, the large array was still not broken. As for the raging demon chi, after a while, it gradually calmed down. Name: Tianai Evil Lord. Title: Identity, Affiliation, Force Level, Realm. When he used his spiritual eye, the other party's attributes were still blank. Only the name column appeared. Human, you're arrogant. Tianai Evil Lord's huge eyes stared coldly at Qin Shujian below. In his eyes, the other party was not even the size of his finger. It was as if he could easily crush him to death with just a press. Qin Shujian placed his hands behind his back, using his spiritual sense to lift his body into the air, rising to the same level as Tianai Evil Lord's head. Smiling faintly, he said, "I'm a little arrogant, but it depends on who I'm arrogant to. If it's just you, then I have the right to be arrogant. It's been a long time since a human dared to be so presumptuous in front of me. Is your confidence because of your identity as an array grandmaster?" Tianai Evil Lord said sinisterly. To be able to see through the truth of the seal, only an array grandmaster could do that. So, when Qin Shujian pointed out the problem of the seal, he knew that the person before him was an array grandmaster. Although my strength will be suppressed in the true dominion, you are an array formation grandmaster. How much strength can you unleash in your array formation? You have miscalculated if this is your source of confidence. He. Qin Shujian smiled faintly. Soon after, a terrifying aura erupted from his body. Rumble. Boom. Boom. For universal heavenly locks pierced through the universe and landed on his body. The universal heavenly locks spanned across the sky. The entire stone rock stronghold, and more than half of the true dominion experts, could see the 4 chains filled with Dao runes entering the void in the sky. When Qin Shujian's aura changed completely, his eyes became indifferent. He looked at Tianai Evil Lord and said faintly, "If that's the case, then I have the right to be arrogant." For universal heavenly locks. Tianai Evil Lord's face turned ugly instantly. He had not expected this. The ordinary-looking person before him was an expert who had condensed 4 universal heavenly locks. Such a person, Tianai Evil Lord had only heard of him, but he had never met him in person. However, the aura emanating from Qin Shujian's body alone, this had already caused his heart to become heavy. If he had been at his peak without the shackles of the true dominion, he would have been able to kill someone who had condensed 4 universal heavenly locks with a wave of his hand. However, now, Tianai Evil Lord could not do this. Qin Shujian put one hand behind his back and hooked his finger with the other. He looked at the Evil Lord, who was hundreds of feet tall, and said provocatively, "Let me see how powerful an evil demon that needs to be sealed by the 9-star flare array is. Only one of us can walk out of here today. Either you kill me, or I kill you. Human, don't be too presumptuous. Since you are not willing to make the first move, I won't stand on ceremony." As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Shujian formed a seal with one hand, and an almost solid illusory mountain range descended from the void and suppressed Tianai Evil Lord. Great Desolate Devil Suppression Seal. Mountain Moving Seal. Chapter 365. A seal fell. With the power of the mountain range, it suppressed everything. This great desolate devil suppressing seal, Qin Shujian had already raised it to the level of being one with the world. 5 million points of life force. Only then did he raise this mid-grade divine martial art to the level of being one with the world. After reaching the level of being one with the world, his understanding of this martial art had completely surpassed that of the original creator of this martial art, reaching an unprecedented level, taking another step forward. That was the level of entering the Tao. To this, Qin Shujian did not raise it again, because for him now, the great desolate devil suppressing seal of being one with the world was already enough. When the mountain range fell, the 4 universal heavenly lock trembled violently. The terrifying power followed the descent of the mountain range shadow, like a hurricane sweeping through the world, shaking the void until it was slightly distorted. Roar! Tianyi, evil lord, let out a furious roar as his fist, which was the size of a mountain, smashed towards the mountain phantom. The two collided. It was a strong wind that spread out. Qin Shujian's body shook, but he did not retreat. The surging qi and blood in his body crazily surged, and when bursts of dragon roars resounded, another great desolate devil-suppressing seal struck out. Tianyi, evil lord, was not afraid. Under the monstrous devil qi, the evil demon was one of the most tyrannical existences. Even when facing the four universal heavenly lock, Qin Shujian, he did not retreat in the slightest. Boom, boom. As the two sides clashed, the terrifying power spread out, causing the earth to tremble violently. The formation runes on the inner fortress walls trembled violently, and then under the shocked gazes of the many defenders, it shattered bit by bit. Following that, the entire inner fortress shook. Qi Zian shouted, "All the people on the inner fortress walls, retreat. And everyone else, retreat 5 feet." Finished. The defenders retreated as they were told. Not long after, the entire inner fortress crumbled and collapsed in front of everyone's eyes. Hiss. Seeing this, there were already people who could not help but suck in a few breaths of cold air. Just the aftermath of the battle had caused the inner fortress to collapse. Such strength. Wasn't this a little too shocking? At this moment, a general of the limestone fortress asked Qi Zian in a low voice as he looked at the demon in the distance and the figure fighting with it in the air. "Commander, should we help Sect Master Qin? Attack?" Qi Zian laughed at himself and asked, "Do you think we have a chance to intervene?" A rhetorical question. The general choked on his words. Not bad. Did they have the right to interfere? Just the aftermath of the battle between the two sides was enough to destroy the incomparably sturdy fortress. Such power was not something they could interfere with. Even an airborne realm cultivator like Qi Ziyan, who possessed the strength of a true martial peak in the true dominion, was not qualified to intervene. It wasn't impossible. It was that they couldn't. The protective aura of a physical invulnerability adept was practically useless against such power. Whether it was Qin Shujian or Tianyi, evil lord. With just a casual strike, he could kill a peak physical invulnerability cultivator. The defenders of the limestone fortress. They were only there to guard the evil demon's seal and deal with anyone who tried to break the seal. However, when the seal was really broken, the defenders of the fortress, they had no right to resist the evil demon. Once the seal was broken, only one of them would die. It is rumored that only someone who has condensed 4 universal heavenly locks can break the shackles of the true dominion and become the protectorate lord of the spirit dominion. Only an expert who has condensed 4 universal heavenly locks can be called invincible in the true dominion. At first, I thought that this was an exaggerated rumor. However, it seems like it is not false at all. Qi Ziyan sighed emotionally. Even if he were to fully recover his powers as an airborne realm being, he had no confidence in being able to take on Qin Shujian at the moment. Meanwhile, the commotion caused by the battle between the two sides attracted the attention of the other experts of the True Dominion. This was especially so when the evil demon broke the seal and caused an earth-shaking change. No one could ignore it. After all, once the demon disaster started, it would not be a problem of one city or land. If it was not handled properly, the entire True Dominion would be finished. Therefore, at this moment, experts from various sects and some experts from other cities were rushing over. Qi Ziyan, who had been watching the battle, had no choice but to go out and meet these experts when he sensed the commotion. Or else, if these people barged in directly, it would inevitably cause unnecessary trouble. On the other side, the battle between Qin Shujian and Tianyi Evil Lord was still ongoing. As the evil demon sealed by the 9-star flare array, even though the heavenly man Evil Lord was suppressed by the shackles of the True Dominion, his strength had reached the level of condensing 3 universal heavenly locks. In fact, he was close to condensing 4 universal heavenly locks and had truly touched the limits of the True Dominion. However, a little bit was still a little bit. This was especially true when experts fought. Sometimes, A little bit of difference was enough to determine the outcome of a battle. Mountain-moving seal, ocean-overturning seal, fiend-suppressing seal. The great desolate fiend-suppressing seal, which was at the union of heaven and man stage, had almost reached the level of skill in Qin Shujian's hands. Every strike perfectly carried the maximum power he could produce at the moment. The strength of the evil demon clan. It was their terrifying physical body. Qin Shujian, who cultivated the origin-returning ancestral scripture, had transformed his body into the immortal bright king body. In terms of strength, he was not much weaker than the evil demon clan. Now that his strength had reached the shackles of the true dominion, he could cause thunder to roll with his every move. It seemed as though he would break through the shackles at any time. In the face of such an attack, the Tianai Evil Lord did not show any signs of defeat at the beginning and was evenly matched with Qin Shujian. However, as time passed, the scales of victory slowly tilted towards Qin Shujian. The original inner fortress had already been destroyed. As for the stone rock stronghold's guards, they had already retreated to the walls of the stronghold. Apart from that, the experts of the True Dominion were all staring at the battle in front of them with shock in their eyes. Universal Heavenly Lock. Evil Demon Clan. Regardless of which side it was, the strength displayed was enough to make people lose all will to fight. This is the Protectorate Lord of the Liang Mountain Spirit Protectorate who broke through the shackles of the True Dominion. His strength is indeed earth-shattering. He can actually suppress the evil demon clan. For Universal Heavenly Locks. I never thought that I would be able to see an expert who has condensed 4 Universal Heavenly Locks in my lifetime. With Sect Master Qin around, the evil demon clan should be fine this time. Don't forget that Sect Master Qin's most powerful technique is not his cultivation level, but his array formation technique that is comparable to a heavenly man major cultivator. Many people were discussing animatedly. Some people only came to their senses when they heard the last sentence. That's right. The most powerful technique of Sect Master Qin, who was famous in the North Cloud Mansion, was not his cultivation level, but his array Dao cultivation level that was comparable to a heavenly man major cultivator. In the past 1,000 years, the only array Dao Grandmaster in the North Cloud Mansion. However, now, the other party did not use any array Dao techniques. He was completely suppressing the evil demon clan with his own strength. Such a situation, it was even more shocking than using an array formation to suppress the evil demon clan. Boom, boom. The two sides continued to exchange blows. The ground beneath Tianai Evil Lord's feet had already cracked. The remnants of the 9 stars array and the bronze pillars had long been reduced to dust in the aftermath of the battle. Not a single trace of them was left behind. As for the monstrous demonic qi, it had decreased by a lot at this moment. It was not because of any other reason. It was because Tianai Evil Lord had consumed a large amount of demonic qi in order to recover from his injuries. Boom! Another demon-suppressing seal was sent out. Tianai Evil Lord's arm was shattered. Blood gushed out like a fountain, constantly splashing onto the ground. His body also took a few steps back. Immediately after, the demonic qi rolled back, causing the injury on his arm to heal in the blink of an eye. Kill. Tianai Evil Lord's ferocious face was filled with killing intent. When his fists struck the void, it was enough to shatter a mountain. The terrifying power did not decrease at all. I want to see how much true qi and blood you have left to use. No matter how strong the 4 universal heavenly locks are, when you run out of energy, you will die. Evil Lord roared again and again. Qin Shujian's expression was indifferent. Facing Tianai Evil Lord's fierce attack, he still did not retreat. Instead, he faced it head-on. Then let's see if your demonic qi is exhausted first, or if my true qi and blood is exhausted first. He had 7 cultivation techniques in him. Even when he used true qi, unless he set up a complete master-level array, there was no possibility of it being exhausted. Not to mention, right now, he was using diluted true qi, relying on the recovery ability of the 7 cultivation techniques. The current him, the true qi in his body was still abundant. Tianai Evil Lord wanted to use force to exhaust his true qi. Qin Shujian could only say that it was wishful thinking. Another seal was sent out. The other party was forced to retreat. Soon after, Qin Shujian closed in on him and struck out with the demon-suppressing seal again. But the difference was, this time, the demon-suppressing seal had a dark red flame attached to it, making it even more terrifying. Tianai Evil Lord did not care and still sent out a punch. But when the two collided, the dark red flame immediately spread along his fist towards his arm. A terrifying scorching sensation caused Tianyi Evil Lord to change his expression. Following that, a thought moved. A large amount of demonic qi surged over, attempting to extinguish the dark red flame. But as a large amount of demonic qi covered it, the dark red flame was not extinguished. Instead, it became more and more intense. This caused his face to turn completely ugly. What kind of flame is this? The flame that will kill you. Qin Shujian laughed sarcastically, but the attack in his hand did not stop for even half a breath and continued to bombard the other party. In order to kill Tianai Evil Lord, he waited until the other party had consumed more than half of his demonic qi before he used the Ming King Hellfire. After all, although the Ming King Hellfire could use demonic qi as nourishment, if there was too much demonic qi, it could still be extinguished. That attack just now, Qin Shujian had already used all the Ming King Hellfire in his body. If Tianai Evil Lord was still at his peak, relying on the huge amount of demonic qi, he might be able to extinguish it. But now, in a situation where it could not be extinguished in an instant, the more demonic qi surged over, the more intense the Ming King Hellfire would be. Chapter 366. Just as the Ming King Hellfire was ignited, Qin Shujian waved his hand and set up a large array that blocked their line of sight. This array completely cut them off from the outside world. What's going on? Array isolation. What's going on inside? With the formation blocking them, the people in the outside world suddenly felt as if they had been interrupted while doing something exciting. They felt so uncomfortable that they wanted to vomit blood. But they had no choice. Qin Shujian obviously did not want them to see the situation. These people did not have the guts to forcefully break the array to see. After all, if they really angered the other party, none of them would be able to escape. Even the sect behind them would be finished. During this period of time, Qin Shujian's killing intent had lessened, but the other party's reputation of destroying the sect had gradually spread out. Vicious and merciless, vengeful. Such a character was already well known by many people. No one wanted to offend the other party because of a small matter and bring about a fatal disaster. So, when the array isolated them, these people could only wait anxiously at the same spot and did not do much. Inside the array, the Ming King Hellfire was nourished by the demonic qi and had already covered a third of Tianai Evil Lord's body. That scorching aura seemed to be directly affecting his soul, causing his face to become distorted. Impossible! Is there anything in this world that can restrain the demonic qi? Roar! Tianai Evil Lord roared continuously. What was happening now was beyond his expectations, causing him to feel unprepared towards the dark red flame burning on his body. In his ancient memory, it had never appeared before. In Tianai Evil Lord's eyes, the demonic qi was an existence that could be compared to the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. To a certain extent, it even surpassed the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Such a thing. It was supposed to be supreme, and no existence could restrain it. But the current situation, it was a real lesson for him. Qin Shujian did not have the intention to answer Tianai Evil Lord's doubts. Just as the other party was distracted by the Ming King Hellfire, the great desolate devil suppression seal had already struck out. Boom! Not only was he distracted by the Ming King Hellfire, he also had to withstand the attack of the great desolate devil suppression seal. Tianai Evil Lord instantly fell into a disadvantage. Every time it was bombarded, it caused his body to faintly crack. Blood flowed out from the cracks in his skin like a small stream. The wandering demonic qi in the surroundings swept back and acted on his body, wanting to completely heal his injuries. Upon seeing the Tianai Evil Lord's body recovering, Qin Shujian's countenance turned cold as he unleashed another mountain-moving imprint. the illusory silhouette of a mountain pressed down on the Tianai evil lord's body, causing a terrifying explosion that shook the heavens. Boom! His physical body was torn apart, and demonic energy swirled in reverse to repair it. Boom! His body once again cracked and repaired itself. Boom! The qi in Qin Shujian's body seemed to be limitless. His qi and blood kept circulating, and no matter how much it was consumed, it didn't dry up at all. When he used the Great Desolation Devil Suppressing Seal, it was like a big move with zero consumption. Every single strike caused the Tian Yi evil lord's body to crumble. It was fine at first. When the devil qi was abundant, the evil demon could be said to have an immortal body. However, as time passed, the demonic qi thinned at a speed visible to the naked eye. On one side, the Ming King Hellfire was devouring the demonic qi. While repairing the body, it also consumed a large amount of demonic qi. Under the combination of the two, the speed of consumption was terrifying. When another devil-suppressing seal landed, this time, Tian Yi evil lord's body collapsed, but his body didn't recover to its original state like before. As for the surrounding demonic qi, now there was nothing left of it. The Ming King Hellfire that had spread to half of his body seemed to have lost its suppression and instantly swallowed the Tianai evil lord's entire body. Roar! The painful burning made the Tianai evil lord roar in anger. His roar shook the heavens and earth. Even under the isolation of the array, it still spread out. Junior, when I come out from the demon abyss, I will definitely extract your soul and make you fall into the demon abyss forever. You will suffer the pain of the demonic qi scraping your soul. The Tianai evil lord's scarlet eyes stared at Qin Shujian as he spat out the words. Hatred, killing intent, anger. At this moment, all of these were piled up in the Tianai evil lord's heart. If he was given another chance, he would definitely tear the other party into pieces. The threat to the Tianai evil lord. Qin Shujian placed his hands behind his back and said coldly, when you have the chance to come out of the demon abyss, it will be the time of your death. Who doesn't know how to boast? In terms of bragging, he, Qin Shujian, has never been afraid of others. In the past, the Tianai evil lord in front of him was not the only one who said that he would make his soul fall into the demon abyss forever. Previously, the Six Desires evil lord had crawled out of the demon abyss to take revenge, but unfortunately, he had completely lost his life. Hearing Qin Shujian's arrogant words, the anger in the Tianai evil lord's heart was about to incinerate him. But with the body of an evil lord, under the situation where the demonic qi was exhausted, the Ming King Hellfire would not last for long. So, when the Tianai evil lord left his last sentence, he was directly burned to ashes by the Ming King Hellfire. A fire lotus quietly floated in the air. Just you wait. If you say wait, then wait. The next time I see you, I will definitely hammer you to death. Qin Shujian sneered. At the same time, the system's message rang in his mind. You have received 10 luck points. With 10 luck points in hand, Qin Shujian was in a good mood. Then, looking at the fire lotus in the distance, he reached out his hand. The fire lotus fell into his hand. A pure energy flowed into his body. At the same time, the 410 feet spiritual god also received a lot of nourishment. However, to reach the 420 feet level, it was still a bit lacking. However, Qin Shujian silently felt the changes in the spiritual god. He was sure. The spiritual god was not far from reaching 420 feet. It would probably be able to devour one or two more evil lords. The spiritual god reached the 400 feet level. Every increase of 10 feet. His strength was a terrifying increase. Even if this increase was only about 10% of his current strength, it was still terrifying enough. If an ordinary peak prominent divine realm's battle power was compared to 10,000, then Qin Shujian's current battle power was at least 50,000. His current 10% increase was equivalent to an increase of 5,000 battle power. It was equivalent to an increase of 50% of an ordinary peak prominent divine realm's battle power. If this was the case, it looked much clearer. Immediately, Qin Shujian looked at the surrounding concealing array. With a wave of his hand, the array was destroyed. The situation that everyone could not see was revealed once again. Sect Master Qin, that evil lord. Qi and asked in bewilderment after a short moment of shock when he saw Qin Shujian fly over. As for the others, their gazes landed on Qin Shujian. This was Sect Master Qin, who had been famous for a long time. Many people were seeing him for the first time. No one had forgotten. The expert before them was a peak, prominent divine realm existence and a terrifying expert who could match a heavenly man-realm cultivator. He was far beyond the reach of the true Dominion cultivators. Upon hearing this, Qin Shujian said faintly, "The evil lord has been killed. Later, I will set up a spirit-gathering array formation at the place where it was originally sealed to purify the place that was contaminated by the fiend Qi. I believe that it will be resolved after some time." Thank you, Sect Master Qin, for taking action. I thank you on behalf of all the guards of the Rock Stronghold. Qi bowed and thanked him gratefully. As for the other people of the Rock Stronghold, they also bowed and paid their respects to Qin Shujian. The other party had resolved the evil lord. In other words, there was no need for the Rock Stronghold to exist. The people guarding this place could also officially retreat from this place. In that case, to them, Qin Shujian was their benefactor. Regardless of whether he had come on the orders of Marquis Baiyun, it was not that important to these people. What was important was the other party had killed the evil lord. Just this point alone was enough. In response to Qi and the others' bows, Qin Shujian extended his hand and helped them up symbolically. Then, he said, "Commander Qi, you don't have to be so polite. This is what I should do." Next, Qin Shujian set up a spirit-gathering array formation at the place where the evil lord had broken the seal. This was also the first time that the others were lucky enough to see an array Dao Grandmaster set up an array. The previous scene of the array being set up with a wave of his hand had been too fast. Many people did not have the time to take a good look before they realized that the array had been set up. This time, Qin Shujian's speed of setting up the array was a little slower. However, no matter how slow he was, a spirit-gathering array formation that covered an area of the stronghold only took 2 to 3 breaths. The ground was contaminated by the fiend Qi. If the heaven-earth spirit Qi was used to purify it naturally, it might not be completely purified even after hundreds of years. After all, the fiend Qi had penetrated deep into the ground and could not be purified by ordinary spirit Qi. However, the spirit-gathering array formation was different. The spirit Qi concentration in the array formation increased, so the purification speed increased a lot. After setting up this array, the fiend Qi inside will be completely purified in at most 3 years. Qin Shujian told Qi, and after setting up the array formation, there was something else that he did not say. As long as a Grandmaster level array formation was not destroyed, it would always exist. After the spirit-gathering array formation purified the fiend Qi inside, it might become a small cultivation treasure land. Regarding this, Qin Shujian did not say too much. If the other party could discover it, then so be it. If not, then so be it. However, when he was setting up the array, he suddenly thought of something that he had neglected for a long time. That was, the immortal plane was still contaminated by the fiend Qi. Even though the True Dominion and the Spirit Protectorate had been upgraded twice and the Heaven-Earth Spirit Qi had flowed backward, the fiend Qi had not been purified much. Plus, the immortal plane was not very important. Qin Shujian had neglected it. However, now that he thought about it, perhaps he should set up a huge array formation there to completely purify the fiend Qi. This way, the territory of the origin sect could be expanded. Chapter 367. After settling the matter at the limestone stronghold, Qin Shujian bade farewell and left immediately. As for the experts of the True Dominion's native sects, they wanted to get acquainted with him but did not dare casually talk to him. Therefore, when Qin Shujian had completely left, some people beat their feet and stomped their chests, realizing that they had missed an opportunity to make friends with an expert. After all, the current origin sect was in the Northern Peak sect. It was one of the top sects in the Baiyun Prefecture. Even among the 13 prefectures of the Great Zhao Dynasty, it was still a famous sect. If the sect they belonged to could establish a connection with the origin sect, then, as long as the origin sect could offer some benefits, it would be enough for the true Dominion sects to eat. This was a top-notch sect. It was different from an ordinary true Dominion sect. On the other side, after leaving the limestone stronghold, Qin Shujian immediately rushed to the next stronghold. To him, now, it was a race against time to hunt down the evil devils. This did not mean that the current situation was so critical. In Qin Shujian's opinion, the evil devils in the northern Cloud Manor's true dominion were already his. Waiting one more day for the providence points that were waiting for him to harvest was torture. The greatest joy would be to harvest all of them. Marquis, isn't it too risky for us to kill the evil devils now? Li Guang'an asked hesitantly as he looked at the Marquis Baiyun in front of him. Although he was a consecrator of the northern Cloud Manor, he had heard of some things. He also knew a little about why the great Zhao nation only suppressed the evil devils and never killed them. It's just a matter of time. The Marquis Baiyun shook his head slightly. He did not say much about Li Guang'an's worries. The altar that sealed the evil devils in the northern Cloud Manor had been set up by the Array Dao Grandmasters sent by the imperial court. However, these sealing altars had been worn down for hundreds or even thousands of years. Coupled with the continuous attacks of the evil devils below, some of them had already reached their limits. Under such circumstances, the imperial court should have sent grandmasters over to continue strengthening the array formation. However, the current situation, the imperial court simply did not have the extra power to take care of these matters. Previously, they had sealed the evil devils. This was to suppress the power of the fiend abyss. However, no matter how much they suppressed it, if they did not completely kill these evil devils, there would be endless future troubles. For the current situation, instead of waiting for the hidden dangers to erupt, it would be better to get rid of them all at once. When the demon abyss was attacked in the future, they could deal with it on their own. What the North Cloud Mansion needed to do now, it was cutting off all means of retreat. Blindly taking care of too many things would only end up in a bad situation. Seeing that Marquis Baiyun did not want to talk about this matter, Li Guang'an shut his mouth at the right time. In the end, he was just a consecrator of the Baiyun Marquis Manor. He had no right to influence the Marquis Baiyun's decision. The fact that he was able to ask a few questions was because he was the other party's trusted aide. Within 10 days, Qin Shujian killed a total of 8 strongholds and 8 demons. These fortresses, these were the places that the Marquis of Baiyun had specially marked in the information that he wanted him to go to first. As expected, when Qin Shujian rushed over, he discovered that there were problems with the seals of the 8 strongholds. Although it was not as good as the limestone stronghold, it had already cracked halfway. However, there was always a flaw in the seal, which caused the demonic aura to leak out. Once the demonic aura leaked out, the problem would be very troublesome. At the very least, it meant that the demonic aura leaked out, and some people would be corroded by the demonic aura and eventually become a member of the demonic disaster. However, as long as one was strong enough, it was not an easy thing to be corroded by the demonic aura. Unless the demonic aura was extremely dense to an extremely terrifying degree, otherwise, as long as one reached the level of qi and blood, it would be very difficult to corrode the demonic aura that leaked out from the seal. The main problem with the leakage of demonic aura was that it would corrode the surrounding area into demonic soil and then provide power to the demons, making the seal even more unstable and breaking the seal. These things could be big or small. If one did not pay attention, it would cause a demonic disaster. But fortunately, the demons sealed in these places were very ordinary in strength. None of them needed to use the 9 stars array, like the Tianai Demon Lord in the Limestone Stronghold. The strongest expert merely used the 7-star on formation. The level of the array. It determined the strength of the demons. The Tianai Demon Lord's strength was at the peak of condensing 3 universal heavenly locks, close to the 4th. And the demons in the 7 stars array. Their strength was only equivalent to condensing 2 universal heavenly locks. Facing such demons, even if Qin Shujian didn't use the Wisdom King's Hellfire, he could still beat him to death. At this moment, he was standing in front of a stronghold and showing his identity token, Eastern Joy Stronghold. This was Qin Shujian's goal this time. Like the other strongholds, after seeing the token of Marquis Baiyun, The stronghold commander immediately opened the gate to welcome him. Very soon, a person came out from inside and walked in front of Qin Shujian. He then cupped his fists and said, "Eastern Joy Stronghold Commander Zhao Heng greets Sect Leader Qin." Commander Zhao is too polite. "May I know why Sect Leader Qin is here?" "I'm here for the demons. Please come in." Zhao Heng's expression turned serious as he turned sideways. During this period of time, news of Qin Shujian frequently going to various strongholds to hunt demons had spread. After all, he was a person who could hunt demons. He was the first one, regardless of whether it was the mortal realm or the true dominion. All of them were at least celestial tier evil spirits, which meant that they were the strongest in that region, unless a heaven realm cultivator attacked, or else other cultivators had almost no chance of contending against them. It was difficult for someone like Qin Shujian, who was able to hunt down demons all by himself, to not attract attention. Therefore, at first, Zhao Heng could vaguely guess Qin Shujian's motive for coming here. After confirming it, he was even more delighted. There was no other reason. Like the other stronghold guards, Eastern Joy Stronghold had been built for a long time. There were guards stationed here all year round and could not leave without permission. However, the guards could be changed every few years. But as the commander, Zhao Heng was not so lucky. It had been 50 years since he arrived, but he was still guarding the stronghold and could not leave without permission unless there was a special situation. 50 years of suffering. Although he did not feel resentful, everyone would want to end such a life if he continued to suffer like this. However, as long as the seal of the demons existed, the stronghold needed someone to guard it every day. Now, it was different. Qin Shujian was here. If he killed the demons inside the seal, there would be no need for Eastern Joy Stronghold to exist. He would no longer need to guard this place. As a result, this was naturally a good thing. Therefore, when he saw Qin Shujian, Zhao Heng's attitude was very warm. As the two entered the stronghold, he tilted his head and asked, "Sect Leader Qin is here for the demons. Do you need me to do anything? Are there any high-level casting materials in Eastern Joy Stronghold?" High-level casting materials? Zhao Heng was stunned for a moment, but then he reacted. After thinking for a moment, he replied, "There are only some level 6 materials in the stronghold storehouse. I wonder if Sect Leader Qin can use them?" Level 6 materials are barely enough. Qin Shujian nodded slightly. "I'll have to trouble Commander Zhao to take me there. Sect Leader Qin, this way please." Hearing this, Zhao Heng did not refuse. He then led Qin Shujian to the Eastern Joy Stronghold storehouse. After showing his identity token, Zhang Xian nodded. The storehouse's door opened. What entered his eyes? Qin Shujian saw a large number of sacks piled up like a small mountain. From the scattered traces on the ground, it could be seen that these sacks were filled with food. He was not surprised by such a situation. After all, Eastern Joy Stronghold was much bigger than Limestone Stronghold. According to Qin Shujian's understanding, the number of guards inside had reached 200,000. So many people. The amount of food that needed to be consumed every day could be said to be massive. If they did not accumulate enough food, the imperial court would send people to deliver food every few days. At this moment, Zhao Heng explained from the side, "There are too many people in Eastern Joy Stronghold. Although we have cultivated some fields in the inner stronghold, in the end, we can't keep up with the daily consumption. The food is regularly sent by the imperial court in case of an emergency." Eastern Joy Stronghold has cultivated fields? This time, Qin Shujian was really surprised. Picking up weapons could kill enemies, and putting down weapons could still cultivate. Eastern Joy Stronghold's method was somewhat familiar. However, he did not think too much about it. Thinking about it carefully, Qin Shujian somewhat agreed with Eastern Joy Stronghold's method. After all, with a large army guarding the stronghold, there would rarely be any battles. 200,000 soldiers were placed here, and they were supported by the imperial court. Moreover, the stronghold was suppressing demons. There was no benefit in attacking the stronghold, unless it was those who were against the human race. Or else, no one would be so free as to attack Eastern Joy Stronghold. This way, the main reason the army was placed here was to deal with this possibility. even if the probability was so small that it made one's hair stand on end. However, the matter of the demons was of great importance. Even if there was a 1 in 10,000 chance, the imperial court would not take it lightly. Compared to the 200,000 soldiers defending, once the demon disaster started, that would mean the death of millions, or even tens of millions of people. The storehouse for forging materials is on this side. Sect Head Qin, please follow me. Zhao Heng only smiled and immediately led Qin Shujian to a side door. After entering, the storehouse at the side door was much smaller than the large storehouse from before. However, it was still filled with all kinds of things. When Qin Shujian's spiritual eye swept over it, not long after, he found a few pieces of 6th-grade ores and put them away. Then, he turned his head and said, "Commander Zhao, please arrange a quiet and spacious courtyard for me." Chapter 368. At Qin Shujian's request, a spacious courtyard was spacious. Zhao Heng had arranged for him to stay in a relatively spacious courtyard, and he had ordered that no one was to disturb him without permission. As for why the other party had done so, Zhao Heng himself was not sure. However, according to his thoughts, the other party should be making some preparations to deal with the evil spirit sealed inside. After all, the East Joy stronghold was different from other strongholds. There was more than one evil spirit sealed inside. There were 3 of them. In the following day, thunder rumbled in the East Joy stronghold. Lightning struck from time to time, causing the other soldiers to tremble. "Commander Zhao, what's going on?" A general of Donglu Fort looked at the incessantly descending lightning and the black clouds that covered a third of Donglu Fort. His face was filled with shock. Those lightning bolts, every single one of them emitted an aura that could make a cultivator at the peak of the true martial realm tremble. Heavenly thunder striking the body. Sect Master Qin must be refining a spirit weapon. Zhao Heng shook his head and said, "Yesterday, Sect Master Qin asked me for some Tier 6 materials. They should be used to refine a spirit weapon." He did not forget that Qin Shujian was not only an array grandmaster, he was also a grandmaster blacksmith. Refining a spirit weapon? Hiss. Upon hearing this, many people were shocked. Any spirit weapon. It had an immeasurable value in the true dominion. Apart from a few sects with a strong enough foundation, not every sect had the existence of a spiritual weapon. As for refining a spirit weapon, they had only heard of it before, but had never seen it with their own eyes. After all, there were very few high-grade blacksmiths in the North Cloud Mansion, let alone grandmasters and master blacksmiths. In a courtyard, when the last heavenly thunder struck, the Heavenly Thunder Sect's disciples were stunned. Qin Shujian stretched out his hand, and the 9-sided array disc floating in the void landed in front of him. It's a pity that due to the lack of materials and time, I can only refine a low-grade spirit weapon array disc. Looking at the 9-sided array disc in front of him, he shook his head silently. A single array disc was a low-grade spirit weapon. When the 9-sided array disc was combined, it could reach the level of a middle-grade spirit weapon. However, when it came to inscribing arrays, the strength of the array disc, this represented the strength of the formation that could support it. If it was a complete Grandmaster-level formation that had the power to resist a celestial being, then the 9-square disc array would not be of much use. However, if they were to deal with the evil fiends in the true dominion with the help of the 9-sided array disc, it was barely enough for him to use. After all, array formations borrowed the power of heaven and earth, and the array disc was just a medium. It was not like other spirit artifacts, which could be used to fight against other cultivators. Shortly after, the 9 array discs floated in the air. Qin Shujian drew in the heaven and earth spirit qi. His 2 fingers were like a divine brush as he carved out mysterious runes one after another. Then, he inserted them into the formation plate. After the rolling thunder, another large amount of spiritual energy gathered. Dongul Stronghold, which had been peaceful for a long time, experienced all sorts of strange phenomena on this day. As for these phenomena, after the initial shock, the people in the fortress slowly got used to it. 2 hours passed. The spiritual energy receded. Qin Shujian put away the 9-sided disc array and left the courtyard. As soon as he opened the courtyard door, he saw Zhao Hong and a group of generals of Dongul Stronghold waiting there. When they saw Qin Shujian come out, Zhao Hong immediately went up to him. Without waiting for him to speak, Qin Shujian spoke first. "Commander Zhao, please take me to the altar where the evil spirit is sealed. Sect Master Qin, please follow me." Zhao Hong took the lead and led Qin Shujian to the altar where the evil spirit was sealed. As for the other generals, they also knew what this meant. Without needing Zhao Hong to explain too much, they had already turned around to pass down the order and made the corresponding arrangements. Although compared to the evil spirit, an army of 200,000 soldiers, it was difficult for them to fight against it. However, there was absolutely no reason not to take any defensive measures. On the other side, Zhao Hong had already taken Qin Shujian to the altar where the evil spirit was sealed. Compared to the 9-star array altar in the limestone stronghold, the altar where the evil spirit was sealed was more complicated. It was a combined sealing array. The sealing power might not be as strong as that of the limestone stronghold, but it was definitely not much weaker. According to the information given by Marquis Bayun, inside this seal, there were 3 evil spirits. Staring at the seal for a while, Qin Shujian turned to Zhao Hong and said, "Commander Zhao, please leave first. No one in Dongul Stronghold is allowed to come within 300 feet of the seal. If I don't come out, I also hope that the people in the stronghold won't do anything without permission." "Okay." Zhao Hong nodded solemnly. In this matter, he didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless, nor would he show off his ability. If a demon calamity happened, it wasn't something that a mere commander of a stronghold like him could bear. If something went wrong, it was a small matter if he died alone, but if he implicated the people behind him, the impact would be huge. After Zhao Hong left, Qin Shujian took out the 9-square array disc and arranged it according to the 9 palaces and 8 trigrams. Finally, it hid in the void. At the same time, he looked at the seal in front of him, gathered many array patterns in his hand, and then bombarded the seal. In an instant, the array patterns in the seal shone brightly, as if it was resisting something. Compared to the broken seals in other places, the seal in Dongul Stronghold was still intact. Similarly, an undamaged seal was the same as being in front of an array master. If Qin Shujian wanted to break this array, there was no difference between fighting with an array grandmaster from a distance. Buzz! The void trembled. Qin Shujian waved his hand, and array patterns fell, trying to find a flaw in the seal. Such a remote fight, this was the first time he had done so. The arrays that he had broken before were all incomplete, and the flaws were also very obvious. Such a perfect array like this was the first time he had officially fought. Fighting with an array grandmaster from a distance, Qin Shujian was also a little excited. Back then, he had only sat down and discussed the Tao with Ming Jingshan, and they had never really competed in arrays. Now, although he didn't know who was the expert who set up this array, but there was no doubt about it. The other party was an array grandmaster expert, but judging from his attainments in arrays, when he set up the array, he had not yet reached the peak of the array grandmaster level. However, this array had been set up for hundreds of years. Although the other party had not reached the peak of the array grandmaster level hundreds of years ago, perhaps hundreds of years later, he had already reached this level. Of course, these things could not affect the speed at which Qin Shujian broke the array. The deduction and improvement of the source of life. Every step of improvement was the peak of the current realm. With his current strength at the peak of the array grandmaster level, there was no problem in suppressing the other party. Not long after, as the last rune fell, Yizichen's eyes widened. The entire seal array shook violently, and the patterns seemed to come alive, swimming in it like silver snakes. Immediately, they saw the silver snakes break apart. In an instant, the sky changed color, and a large area of thunderclouds covered the entire Dongul stronghold. The flickering dark red lightning gave people an ominous feeling in their hearts. The thunderclouds are pressing down on the city. The evil spirit must have broken out of the seal. Zhao Heng's face was solemn, and he spat out a few words with difficulty. Just a moment ago, he had already seen the fiendish chi soar into the sky like a scene of the end of the world. It was as if one would fall deep into the evil fiendish chi if one took one more look at it. Everyone, be on guard. Anyone who approaches the Dongle stronghold without permission will be killed without mercy if the warning is ineffective. At the same time, pay attention to the movement of the evil spirit. If Sect Master Qin is defeated, use all your strength to resist the evil spirit and prevent the spread of the fiend calamity. Zhao Heng immediately issued the relevant orders. Yes, after the numerous generals received the orders, the entire Dongle stronghold started to move. At the moment, all the experts in the True Dominion were alarmed by this evil aura and the black clouds covering the sky in the distance. Given their knowledge, they naturally understood that this was a movement caused by the birth of the evil spirit. This was a matter of life and death. Many experts of the sects could not hold back and rushed towards the Dongle stronghold. However, just as they reached the stronghold, they were stopped by the general guarding the stronghold walls. Without the imperial court's decree, no one is allowed to enter the stronghold at this moment. Everyone, please return. Upon hearing this, the experts who had arrived did not retreat. Immediately, someone asked, "May I ask if there is a problem with the evil spirit seal in the Dongle stronghold?" The imperial court has sent experts to slay the evil spirit. Everyone, there is no need to panic. Slay the evil spirit? Hearing this, everyone looked at each other in dismay. Immediately, someone, who seemed to have thought of something, cupped his hands and asked from afar, "May I ask if Sect Master Qin of the Origin Sect is in the Dongle stronghold?" During this period, Qin Shujian had been killing evil spirits everywhere, causing a lot of commotion. Now that he had said this, people could not help but associate him with this Sect Master Qin. Upon hearing this, the general on the city walls fell silent. Finally, he nodded and said, "That's right. We will not enter the stronghold. We will only wait here for a while. I wonder if you can make an exception for us?" After receiving a definite answer, someone immediately spoke up. To the people of the imperial court, the experts of the sects still maintained a polite attitude. After all, the sects of the True Dominion, they did not have the right to provoke the imperial court. No harm done, the general replied and didn't say anything else. As long as the other party did not forcefully enter the Dongle stronghold, they could stay wherever they wanted. It did not have much to do with him. It was mainly because of the people present. They were all reputable figures in the True Dominion. He could not afford to offend them too much. On the other side, as the seal was broken, when the heavenly thunder rolled down, monstrous devil Chi soared into the sky and collided with the thunder. Immediately after, the ground shook and cracked. Soon, an evil spirit crawled out from under the broken seal. Its body, which was more than 200 feet tall, was like a mountain range, giving people a strong visual impact. A violent aura. Immediately, it spread out. Chapter 369. The first evil spirit appeared. The second and third evil spirits appeared one after another. The moment the three evil spirits appeared, shocking demonic chi erupted and spread out in all directions like a wave. He was an evil demon. Its power was inferior to Tian Yi Evil Lord. But when the three evil spirits joined forces, even Tian Yi Evil Lord would have to avoid them. Until now, Qin Shujian also knew the division between the evil spirits. Most of the evil spirits were below the 7th level of the Sky Human Realm. There were very few above the 7th level of the Sky Human Realm. As for the demon gods, although they were the same as evil spirits, they were above ordinary evil spirits. All the demon gods, they were at least at the 7th level of the Sky Human Realm. In the Great Zhao, those at the 7th level of the Sky Human Realm could be called Almighty. This information, previously, Qin Shujian had also done a lot of hard work, lest he, the reincarnation of a mighty figure, went out and embarrassed himself. However, according to his guess, there shouldn't be any demon god sealed in Baiyun Manor. Even the Tian Yi Evil Lord sealed in the 9-star array was far from the 7th level of the Sky Human Realm, let alone a demon god. To this, Qin Shujian also felt that it was normal. Ordinary array masters could only deal with experts who had just entered the sky-human realm. Peak master like him could only contend against the 3rd level of the sky-human realm. To seal a demon god at the 7th level of the sky-human realm, most likely in the Great Zhao. There wasn't such an array master. When the 3 demon gods appeared, Qin Shujian had already displayed the effect of the Spirit Eye. Evil Lord Kong Ming, Evil Lord Bai Luo, Evil Lord Zonghai. Like Tianyi Evil Lord, the 3 evil spirits didn't reveal anything other than their names. To this, Qin Shujian was used to it. Wang. When the 3 evil spirits stood on the ground, their demonic qi spread out. The 9-square array disc hidden in the void, the array engraved inside finally activated. The moment the array pattern erupted, it connected with the other array discs. In an instant, heaven and earth changed, the stars moved. When the 3 evil spirits came back to their senses, they found themselves in a desolate land. Heaven and earth transformation, Grandmaster level formation. Evil Lord Kong Ming said sinisterly. While speaking, his line of sight had already followed the spiritual eyes piercing, and he had sensed something in the darkness and looked towards a certain location. In the end, it fell directly on Qin Shujian. Human, were you the one who set up the formation? What a joke. The Grandmaster Array formation set up in the True Dominion is also restricted by the heaven and earth shackles. How much power can it unleash? Do you really think that you can defeat us with just an array formation? Humans are ignorant. It's normal for them to do some stupid things. The other 2 evil lords mocked. Even though they were enveloped by a formation, the 3 evil fiends did not mind at all. It was a guru-level array. Trying to suppress the 3 of them was undoubtedly wishful thinking. Evil Lord Kong Ming continued, I am very curious. Why did you destroy the array? Could it be that you intend to rely on the Devil Abyss? No matter what the 3 demons said, Qin Shujian remained silent. The next moment, the array was activated. Lightning gathered in the sky and struck down at the 3 evil spirits. Arrogant, Evil Lord Kong Ming was so angry that he laughed. He punched at the lightning, and the terrifying power instantly destroyed the lightning. The powerful power even caused the array to tremble slightly. Lightning, come. Mountain, come. Fire, come. Saber, come. Demon Slayer. Qin Shujian controlled the array formation with one hand. The originally calm interior of the array formation suddenly exploded. First, there was the lightning. Then there was the suppression of the mountain range, followed by the burning of the Wisdom King Hellfire, and then there was the slashing of countless saber flares. Thousands of terrifying attacks gathered together, and finally, the faces of Evil Lord Kong Ming and the others changed. It was also at this moment, for universal heavenly lock pierced through the universe. Qin Shujian stepped on the air and used the great desolate devil suppressing seal to attack Evil Lord Kong Ming. Universal heavenly lock. This time, Evil Lord Kong Ming was really shocked. Boom! The 2 collided, and Evil Lord Kong Ming was immediately forced back by the powerful force. The black scales on his arm cracked, and a large amount of blood flowed out. It was just one move. He had already been injured. His strength was merely condensing 2 universal heavenly locks. The difference between condensing 4 universal heavenly locks and condensing 2 was a little shocking. As for the other 2 evil devils, they wanted to help. However, the attacks from the array formation were unceasing, so they had no chance to do so. This was also Qin Shujian's main motive for setting up the array formation. He wanted to use the array formation to interfere with the other 2 evil devils, and then use his own strength to deal with one of them. Boom, boom, kill. The killing intent in Qin Shujian's eyes condensed. A terrifying force rose from his dantian, and then it was completely released. Blood Qi turned into a huge dragon. The 4 universal heavenly locks trembled violently, as if they were about to shatter at any time. This was a force that had truly touched the limits of the True Dominion. Evil Lord Kong Ming did not have any strength to retaliate against such an attack. Every move of the attack caused his physical body to crack. He could only rely on the recovery of his fiendish qi to prevent his body from being destroyed. However, The fiendish qi was limited after all. In the short span of 10 minutes, even evil Lord Kong Ming had forgotten how many times his physical body had been cracked. Until now, more than half of his monstrous fiendish qi had been destroyed. From the start of the battle until now, evil Lord Kong Ming had not completely reacted to what had happened. Why would a human condense 4 universal heavenly locks? Why would a human who had condensed 4 universal heavenly locks be so strong? The evil devil clan should have been invincible in the same cultivation realm. In the true dominion, no human should be a match for them. Why? Why would such a situation occur? Evil Lord Kong Ming could not figure it out. However, Qin Shujian did not need him to figure it out. After another round of intense attacks, which consumed a lot of evil Lord Kong Ming's fiendish qi, he directly used the bright monarch hellfire in his dantian. The moment the bright monarch hellfire appeared, it spread along evil Lord Kong Ming's arm like maggots in a tarsal bone. No matter how turbulent the fiendish qi was, it could not extinguish the bright monarch hellfire. Soon after, the bright monarch hellfire completely engulfed evil Lord Kong Ming. In the end, evil Lord Kong Ming's body gradually turned into ashes amidst his angry and painful roars. Only a fire lotus was left floating quietly. As for evil Lord Azurefall and evil Lord Hidden Ocean, they were both shocked and furious when they saw this scene. It seemed that they had not expected evil Lord Kong Ming to die so quickly. It's your turn. Qin Shujian swallowed the fire lotus, and his 430-foot spirit deity grew to 440 feet. Then, he shifted his gaze away from evil Lord Azurefall and smiled sinisterly. In the outside world, ever since the array formation had been raised, no one could see what was happening inside the array formation. Only when the void trembled and the terrifying shockwaves spread out could one understand what kind of intense battle was taking place inside the array formation. Commander Zhao, do you think Sect Master Qin can win? The Marquis must have extraordinary means to make him come. Although the 3 evil devils are strong, they should not be able to do anything to Sect Master Qin. Zhao Heng shook his head and replied. To be honest, he was not confident. But so what? Now that the array had been set up, no one had the ability to interfere. Furthermore, even if they could charge into the array formation, they would not be qualified to participate in the battle. Others did not know how terrifying the evil devils were, but Zhao Heng was different. When a devil calamity had occurred, he had followed the army to battle. He had seen with his own eyes how a true Dominion evil devil had easily torn 3 divine martial realm cultivators into pieces. That kind of strength had truly reached a terrifying level. In the current True Dominion, the so-called peak true martial realm cultivators could not withstand a single blow from the evil devils. If Qin Shujian was defeated, the entire East Joy stronghold would be finished. At this thought, Zhao Heng took a deep breath and said in a low voice, "Order everyone to be on guard. If anything unusual happens, attack the evil devils immediately." Yes, instantly, the atmosphere in the entire East Joy stronghold became more solemn. Not long later, the void trembled and thousands of array patterns appeared in the void. The space in front of them was rolled up like a curtain and turned into a 9-sided array disk that floated in midair. The scene behind the curtain was completely displayed in front of everyone. When they saw this, Zhao Heng heaved a huge sigh of relief. This was because Qin Shujian was the only one standing in the air in his line of sight. The 3 evil spirits were nowhere to be seen. Combined with the commotion just now and the shattered ground, he knew what had happened. On the other side, as Qin Shujian waved his hand, the 9-sided array discs flew toward him one after another and were put into his storage ring one by one. After doing all this, he turned around and began to descend toward Zhao Heng. Congratulations on your victory, Sect Master Qin. The evil devils have been killed. I will set up an array formation there later to purify the remaining devil qi. I will not participate in anything else. Sect Master Qin's actions are akin to giving me a new lease of life. Thank you. Zhao Heng thanked him gratefully. At the same time, he was shocked by Qin Shujian's strength from the bottom of his heart. The 3 evil devils, they had all been killed in less than 2 hours. This kind of strength, it was truly shocking. Qin Shujian said, Previously, I used the materials in the East Joy Stronghold storehouse to refine something useful to me. I'm afraid I can't return it. It's just some materials. It's my East Joy Stronghold's honor to have Sect Master Qin take a fancy to them. How can I let you return them? Then I'll have to thank you. Hearing this, Qin Shujian revealed a slight smile on his face. Although he didn't take a fancy to the 9-sided array disc, it would still be useful to deal with the other evil devils later on. Rather than wasting time to refine it again, it was better to continue using the 9-sided array disc. As for taking some of the forging materials from the East Joy Stronghold storehouse, Qin Shujian didn't feel embarrassed about it. After all, he had eliminated the hidden dangers of the evil devils for the East Joy Stronghold. In other words, he might have even saved the lives of hundreds of thousands of people in the future. Just this matter alone, it wouldn't be too much for Sect Master Qin to take some 6th grade materials. Chapter 370. In the past month, Qin Shujian had killed a total of 19 demons from 15 fortresses in the 6 directions True Dominion. As a reward, his spiritual deity had grown to 490 feet. Spiritual deity 490 feet. Qin Shujian felt that his spiritual deity had once again reached the limit of what his body could bear. Under such circumstances, he could only temporarily stop increasing the power of his spiritual deity and slowly refine his skyrocketing strength so that it would be more compatible with his body. Only then could he devour the Fire Lotus again and push his spiritual deity to a higher level, although it would take time to refine. However, Qin Shujian did not return to Mount Liang. After all, a round trip would take a lot of time. Thus, he simply found a nearby city and stayed there as a place to cultivate. Although Origin's sect lacked money, he did not lack money. Therefore, when Qin Shujian checked into the inn, he directly chose the best room and stayed there. In the guest room, Qin Shujian sat cross-legged. However, he did not cultivate immediately. Instead, he focused on his attribute panel. In the past month, in addition to the 3 months of seclusion, at this moment, the number of life sources had once again broken through the 100 million mark and reached 110 million. As for the luck points, he now had 530 points. After deducting his original luck points, his luck points had increased by more than 400 points in the past month. This also meant that at least 40 evil demons had died, either directly or indirectly, at his hands. I've killed 19 of them, so the remaining 20 or so should be contributed by the disciples and elders of the sect. Qin Shujian was very satisfied with his current harvest, 530 luck points. If he exchanged them for life sources, he would have more than 50 million luck points. And it had only been a month. If he pushed it back a few more months, it would not be a problem for his luck points to reach a few thousand points. When that time came, it would be a good choice whether he converted them into life sources or used them to upgrade Dao weapons. If he used a few thousand luck points, he could at least upgrade the 1,000 Mountain Blood from a 3-seal Dao weapon to a 4-seal Dao weapon. I wonder if I can upgrade the sect to a 6th grade force if I upgrade the 1,000 Mountain Blood. Qin Shujian thought to himself. After being promoted to a grade 6 force, the Sky Origin sect would at least have a large number of airborne realm cultivators and even illustrious Saint Realm cultivators. When that time comes, only then would they be qualified to stand shoulder to shoulder with the strength of a peak sect. After all, at that time, even if the Yuan sect didn't have any peak experts, just the 1,000 prominent divine stage experts in the upper echelons would be enough to create a great deterrent force to any force. According to his understanding, some of the peak sects didn't even have 1,000 prominent domain experts. However, Qin Shujian also didn't think that it would be so easy to become a grade 6 force. 4-seal Dao artifacts were rare. However, it was impossible for some sects with deep foundations to not have any. Even a great sect of the spirit domain like the Celestial sect could possess a 2-seal Dao artifact, let alone a great sect. That was a sect that was completely above the major sects of the major regions. When a sect is promoted to a higher level, it will require a huge amount of luck points. Until now, I have not heard of any sect that has reached the level of a grade 6 force. From the looks of it, It won't be easy to transform from a 5th grade force to a 6th grade force. Although it wasn't easy to become a 6th grade force, Qin Shujian also didn't have much of a pressing mentality. To him, the promotion of a force would increase the overall strength of the sect. This was definitely a good thing. But this way, some people in the sect would inevitably have thoughts of slacking off. If not, what happened with Li Yongzhang would happen again. Therefore, even if he had the foundation to promote, Qin Shujian still had to seriously consider whether it was worth it. Suppressing the thoughts in his heart, Qin Shujian looked at the large amount of life force, and finally his thoughts landed on the Gue Yuan ancestral cannon. When his thoughts landed, 2 notifications appeared. One was to promote, the other was to deduce. Promotion was to raise his 8th stage of the Gue Yuan ancestral cannon to the 9th stage. Deduction was to deduce the 10th stage of the spirit martial technique based on the foundation of the 9th stage. In other words, to deduce the Gue Yuan ancestral canon to a complete level. Seeing this, Qin Shujian hesitated for a moment and finally chose to deduce it. This wasn't Mount Liang. If he rashly broke through, it would cause too much of a commotion. He didn't want to attract attention for no reason, mainly because there were no benefits. With a thought, 100 million life force was emptied. Following that, the memories of the 10th stage of the Gue Yuan ancestral canon appeared in his mind. Seeing this, Qin Shujian's heart relaxed. Deducing the 9th stage is 50 million points, and the 10th stage is 100 million points. In that case, I only need to accumulate 140 million points of life force to perfectly upgrade the Gue Yuan ancestral canon to the peak of the vision domain stage. This way, he could be considered a true peak of the vision domain stage cultivator. Not like this. On the surface, others would think that he was at the peak of the vision domain stage and that he had broken through the limit. But in reality, only he knew. He was only at the 8th level of the vision domain stage. After digesting the information of the 10th stage of the spirit martial technique of the Gue Yuan ancestral canon, Qin Shujian calmed down and silently polished the compatibility between the spirit god and his body. The next day, a ray of sunlight shone in from the window. Qin Shujian's abdomen slightly inhaled. In the sunlight that shone in, there seemed to be a faint purple aura that gathered like a stream and entered his body along with his breathing. Immediately, the purple aura entered his body. The true essence in his dantian slightly rolled, and the Ming King Hellfire seemed to be a bit brighter. The spirit god did not grow, but when the purple aura entered his body, the compatibility with his body seemed to have become a bit closer. This kind of change was very subtle. Only people who had extremely strong control over their body would be able to detect it. The purple aura of heaven and earth. The effect is truly extraordinary. Qin Shujian opened his eyes and sighed. Unfortunately, every day, only when the sun rose in the east, would there be a moment where the purple aura would be born from heaven and earth. After that moment, the purple aura no longer existed. Or else, to be able to continuously absorb the purple aura of heaven and earth, compared to being in a treasure land with dense spiritual aura, one's cultivation would be much faster. No wonder there was a rumor in my previous life that immortals could cultivate immortality by breathing in the morning dew and the purple aura. Perhaps there really were immortals in the world of my previous life. Qin Shujian thought in his heart. However, these things had completely left him. Although he had not seriously communicated with the players, his spiritual sense was very strong. Even if he did not deliberately spread it, he could still detect every movement in the sect. From the conversations of some players, Qin Shujian could basically guess. The real world where the players were in was different from the world where he was in his previous life. The specific difference between the two was there. Qin Shujian was not sure. The only thing he could be sure of was, the two worlds were different worlds. As for where the world of his previous life was, that was even more impossible to say. However, Qin Shujian did not intend to delve into it. Although he came to this world and did not have the peace of his previous world, he preferred this feeling now. More importantly, in his previous life, he had been mediocre for decades. No matter how talented he was, he could not escape the cycle of life and death. But here, as long as his cultivation was high enough, He could live for 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 years, or even longer. It could even be said, deep in Qin Shujian's heart, there was a dream to pursue immortality. Of course, these were too far away from him. Even the human emperor did not dare to talk about immortality. With his current realm, he had not even stepped into the divine martial realm. What qualifications did he have to talk about immortality? Then, Qin Shujian stood up from the bed, then called the waiter and asked him to bring him a basin of water. Not long after, there was a knock on the door. "Sir, here is what you want. The door is not locked. Come in yourself." After saying that, the door was pushed open. A simple and honest-looking young man brought in a copper basin filled with water and then put it on the table. Qin Shujian took out a silver ingot from his arms and handed it to the waiter. "This is your reward." "Thank you, sir. If you have any other orders, just let me know. I will definitely do it well." The waiter took the silver ingot and put it into his arms without looking at it. Then, his face became more enthusiastic. Qin Shujian waved his hand. "I don't need anything. You can leave now. I'll take my leave." When the waiter left the room, he closed the door sensibly. Then, he took out the silver ingot from his arms and put it in his mouth and bit it hard. Then he saw the teeth marks on the silver ingot. A bright smile immediately appeared on his face. It was worth it. It was really worth it this time. A single silver ingot from the other party was equivalent to a few months of his salary. It was a completely unexpected fortune. Thinking of this, he put the silver ingot into his arms, looked around, and then walked out. In the room, Qin Shujian suddenly shook his head and laughed. He said to himself, "This waiter is not bad. He has a good eye." When the waiter took the silver ingot, he did not look at it twice. After he left, he checked the authenticity of the silver ingot. This way of doing things would not make people feel disgusted. Of course, for him, whether the waiter was in the room or outside, everything he did could not be hidden from his perception. After a simple wash, Qin Shujian opened the door and went downstairs. Suddenly, bustling noises could be heard from the lobby. When he went down the stairs and entered the lobby, he saw that there were many people sitting there. Some were ordinary businessmen, some were cultivators in the cultivation world, and some were similar to Jianghu chivalrous people. Speaking of this, it was necessary to say more. That was the so-called Jianghu chivalrous people were actually people in the cultivation world. But to be serious, it's not that simple. Without breaking through the peak of qi and blood, one could not be considered to have really stepped into the cultivation world. He just had a little more brute force and could barely be considered a master. Because of this, under the cultivators in the cultivation world, there was a group of Jianghu chivalrous people. Chapter 371. For these Jianghu heroes, Qin Shujian rarely paid attention to them, because the difference in status between the two was too great. A prominent divine stage cultivator who could live for 1,000 years, and an ordinary martial artist who could not even reach the 6th level of the martial arts. Waving his hand, a large number of them would have died. The two sides were simply not on the same level. But even so, in fact, these Jianghu heroes, compared to the cultivators of the cultivation world, were not less in number. After all, cultivation was about talent. Not everyone would be able to break through to the peak of qi and blood, and not everyone would have the opportunity to step into the real martial arts realm or even a higher level. More people, they were lucky enough to reach the 1st or 2nd level of the martial arts, and then wasted their lives without any progress. These people did not have any hope in cultivation. They would not be willing to waste the rest of their time on illusory things. So, they would completely bid farewell to the cultivation world and become a Jianghu expert in the ordinary world, doing what they thought was chivalrous or beneficial to themselves. Looking at the situation in the lobby, Qin Shujian did not stay for too long and planned to go out and take a look. Also at this time, the waiter from before came up again and asked politely and respectfully, "Master, do you need anything to eat?" "No need for now. I want to walk by myself." "Master, take care." Seeing this, the waiter tactfully retreated to the side. With his many years of experience, He could see that the person in front of him was not an ordinary person. He must be either respectable or noble. If he could serve him well, he might have a chance to change his life. No one would be willing to be a waiter for their whole life, and no one would be willing to waste their life like this. There was such an opportunity in front of him. The waiter naturally wanted to grasp it, but he also knew very well that this kind of thing could not be rushed. If he caused the other party to dislike him, then the loss would not be worth it. On the other side, Qin Shujian left the inn and began to wander on the street. He was truly wandering, without any special purpose. For a long time, Qin Shujian found that if he was not cultivating, he was fighting monsters, or he was on the way to cultivate or fight monsters. In comparison, the short period of leisure in the cold mountain village no longer existed. From beginning to end, his mind was in a tense state, or rather, there was something behind him that was driving him away. Even if he seemed relaxed on the surface, secretly, he did not relax for even a moment. Qin Shujian also understood that the way of cultivation was to alternate between tension and relaxation, but he still couldn't find a way to let himself relax. Until now. Walking on the street like an ordinary citizen, he felt the people around him coming and going. The peddlers' voices made him feel relaxed all of a sudden. At this moment, the fusion between the spiritual divinity and the fleshly body seemed to have become even closer. It seems that blindly cultivating may not be a good thing. Sometimes, you have to combine work and rest in order to cultivate. Qin Shujian shook his head and laughed. Then, he walked aimlessly in the crowd. He met a good-looking one. He stopped and watched for a while. When he encountered something delicious, he would also sit down and order a portion to taste it. For a Vision Divine stage cultivator, Qin Shujian had already reached the level of fasting. Even if his body automatically absorbed heaven and earth spirit energy, it was enough to offset his daily consumption. The reason why he sat down to eat, it was not because of any other reason, but because he simply wanted to satisfy his appetite. Shopkeeper, how much is it? Qin Shujian put down the bowl and chopsticks in his hand, and then said to the shopkeeper. This was a small stall, and the owner was not a young and strong lad. He was just an old man who was over 50 years old. Time had already left wrinkles on his face, but the difference was that his body was still tall and straight. It was as if the heavy burden of life could not crush this old man. Hearing this, the old man smiled and said, 3 coins. Then, Qin Shujian got up and handed over the 3 coins. The old man took it with a smile and then said, Take care, dear customer. Haha, how long has this stall been open for? Qin Shujian asked casually. It has been 20 or 30 years. The old man answered without hesitation. 20 or 30 years. For an ordinary person, it was more than half of their life. Hearing this, Qin Shujian smiled again, then cupped his hands slightly and said, I'll take my leave first. Take care, dear customer. Come often when you have time. Sure. Qin Shujian nodded, then left the old man's stall and walked to other places. The bowl of food on the stall just now. For him, it had been completely digested as soon as it entered his stomach, but the taste still remained between his lips and teeth. Qin Shujian had made up his mind that if he did not leave during this period, he would come and taste it every day. Next, he entered the state of wandering again. Along the way, he met many cultivators, but their strength was not very strong. Only a few people could enter the real martial arts realm. Strictly speaking, the cultivation world and the mortal world were not so separated. There were many ordinary people in this world, but there were also many cultivators. There were often cultivators mixed in with ordinary people. Unless they were also cultivators, it was not difficult to notice the difference. For these things, Qin Shujian did not pay too much attention to them. Aside from encountering cultivators, as a player who was everywhere, he naturally encountered quite a few as well. However, not many of these players could recognize Qin Shujian. After all, no matter how famous the Liang Mountain Fort Master was, it was impossible for all the players to recognize him. Furthermore, Qin Shujian had been very quiet recently. Some people might have heard of the Liang Mountain Fort Master's name, but they might not be able to recognize him. For this, Qin Shujian was also happy to be free. The city was not very big, but it was not small either. Compared to the Baifeng city and the ancient city, this city was slightly smaller. However, compared to the Liang Mountain city, it was more than twice as big. This was just an ordinary city in the true dominion. It did not even have a teleportation door. Qin Shujian did not use his cultivation level. It took him an entire day to walk around the entire city. By the time he returned to the inn, it was almost evening. When Qin Shujian returned, the waiter appeared at the right time, as if he had been waiting there the whole time. He said respectfully, "Sir, do you need anything to eat? Then give me a table of food and wine. As for what to serve, you can decide for me." "All right. Sir, would you like to eat in the guest room or in the main hall?" Qin Shujian scanned the main hall, which was half full. Then, he pointed at an empty seat and said, "I will sit there." "All right. Sir, please take a seat. I will make the arrangements now." "Okay." Upon hearing this, Qin Shujian nodded slightly. Then, he walked to an empty table and sat down. Then, he glanced at the waiter's departing figure from the corner of his eyes. There was a faint smile on his face. Why was the waiter so enthusiastic? Even if he did not say it out loud, he could guess. When it came to such matters, Qin Shujian did not dislike it. Instead, he admired it a little. In his eyes, only a person who could understand what an opportunity was and would work hard to fight for it was barely qualified. They knew how to improve themselves. They knew how to seize opportunities. However, they would not act too excessively and make others hate them. If a person like the waiter was given a chance, it would not be a big problem for him to live a better life than ordinary people, not to mention anything else. These things, Qin Shujian saw it all, but he didn't reveal too much about it. Some appreciation was one thing, but if he wanted to give some opportunities, it would depend on his mood. Sitting in the main hall, he was surrounded by the voices of others. There were all kinds of topics from all over the world. There were even many topics about cultivators. All kinds of topics made it a little noisy. I heard that a 30 to 40 feet long worm appeared in the 10-mile slope. It specialized in attacking the passing merchants. In the end, the experts of the Jade Spring sect took action and killed it. What's a 30 to 40 feet big head? You know about the beast tied a few days ago, right? I even saw a demonic beast that was 20 to 30 feet big like a small mountain. That guy was very powerful. Every step he took made the ground tremble. Hiss. Qin Shujian had a faint smile on his face. He did not dislike these things. Instead, he was interested in listening. For no other reason. It was just that he liked to be lively. After waiting for about 10 minutes, the waiter served the dishes. Not much. It was just a simple 3 dishes, a soup, a pot of wine, and a bowl of white rice. After all the dishes were served, the waiter smiled and said, "Master, you can try them. These are some of the more famous dishes in this restaurant. Try them and see if they are to your taste." "Not bad. Then I'll take my leave first. If there's anything else, Master can instruct me again." After saying that, the waiter tactfully left. After the waiter left, Qin Shujian picked up a mouthful of food and put it into his mouth to chew. The taste was just as the waiter said. It was indeed not bad. The dishes did not have any spiritual energy. Obviously, they were just ordinary ingredients. But when they were stir-fried, there was a different taste. While eating, he listened to the discussions of the people around him. When he heard something interesting, Qin Shujian's face revealed a smile. Then, he poured himself a cup of wine, tasting and listening. Soon, the time it took to finish a meal passed. Qin Shujian did not stay in the lobby for too long. He went straight upstairs and returned to his room. When he was staying, he had already given dozens of taels of silver at one time. The silver was enough for him to stay for a long time, including his daily food. When the silver was used up, the shopkeeper would naturally tell him. So, this also avoided the trouble of paying the bill after one meal. In the following days, Qin Shujian was like ordinary people. He got up in the morning and went out for a stroll. Every day when he passed by the old man's stall, he would sit down and eat more. Then, he would come back in the afternoon or evening. He ate something in the lobby, listened to the conversations of the people around him, and then went upstairs to start his daily practice. He went back and forth like this. Time passed quietly. Chapter 372. Swoosh. Zhang Ergu's figure flashed through the forest, leaving only afterimages. Behind him, a silver-haired young man was chasing closely behind him. Until now, Zhang Ergu was still in a state of confusion. He had no idea what was going on. He was just strolling around the ordinary realm when he encountered the silver-haired young man. Perhaps because the cosmic bow was too eye-catching, the silver-haired young man wanted to snatch it. When it came to such matters, Zhang Ergu said that it wasn't his first time encountering such matters. He was already very familiar with how to deal with such matters. So, when the silver-haired young man was about to make a move, Zhang Ergu took the initiative to reveal his identity as an elder of the Sky Origin sect. This title was very useful not only in Baiyun Mansion, but also in the cultivation world of the Great 13 Prefectures. However, after the other party heard his identity, not only did he not stop, he attacked wildly instead. He had the cosmic bow in his hand. Zhang Ergu could even fight a grand cultivator of the God Martial realm for a bit. However, he didn't know where the silver-haired young man came from. He also had a Tao artifact in his hand. Although its quality was inferior to the cosmic bow, the other party was much stronger than him. After a few rounds, Zhang Ergu had no choice but to flee. Boom! Sensing the aura behind him, the cosmic bow by his side pulled the bowstring on its own and condensed a large amount of heaven and earth spirit chi into several arrows that shot out in an attempt to stop the other party's pursuit. Did you kill someone's entire family? Or did you do something immoral? Otherwise, why would he keep chasing after you? After the Chinkuan Bao finished shooting the arrow, he followed behind Zhang Ergu and escaped. In terms of fleeing speed, a two-seal Tao artifact was actually faster than Zhang Ergu, a spirit god realm cultivator. However, the cosmic Bao knew, if it abandoned Zhang Ergu and fled on its own, then its Tao artifact career might come to an end. After dripping blood on it to claim ownership, even if the cosmic Bao wanted to hide, Qin Shujian could rely on the connection between the two to find it. So, at this moment, it had no choice but to escape with Zhang Ergu. Hearing this, Zhang Ergu's face darkened. Although he was running for his life, he couldn't help but turn his head and spit out a mouthful of saliva. He fiercely said, "Don't slander me. I think it's because you're too flamboyant that they want to kill you. He is a Tao artifact, you are also a Tao artifact. But you're the one who talks the most nonsense. If they don't snatch it from you, who will they snatch it from? Aren't you just good at talking? What are you showing off for?" Speaking of which, Zhang Ergu felt that his guess was reasonable. Then, he viciously said to the Cosmos Bao, "Hurry up and think of a way. If this continues, we will all be finished." The Cosmos Bao was speechless. When needed, old Qian would shout. When he didn't need to, he would speak ill of him. Even if it was just a Tao artifact, it still had its dignity. However, he thought about it seriously. The Cosmos Bao still decided not to lower itself to Zhang Ergu's level. "What can I do? Didn't the sect master give you a spirit stone? Throw a Grandmaster Array formation over. Apart from a Heaven Man major cultivator, everyone else is trash." Array formation. Upon hearing this, Zhang Ergu's face darkened again. Of course, he wouldn't forget the existence of this thing. However, it was a life-saving trump card. If he didn't use it on a Heaven Man major cultivator or a peak divine martial realm expert, Zhang Ergu felt that it would be a waste. As for the fella behind him, although he was powerful, according to his estimation, he was at most at the peak vision saint realm. Zhang Ergu felt that his heart would ache if he used such a life-saving trump card on a vision saint realm cultivator deep in the mountains. At this moment, a strong wind was approaching from behind. Zhang Ergu didn't dare waste his breath. The quintessential essence in his body erupted once again, and his speed increased greatly. As for the Cosmos Bao, it also pulled the bowstring and condensed spirit arrows in the air, causing many obstacles for the other party. Fortunately, this was only the true dominion. Although the pursuer could fly, his spiritual force was suppressed, and his speed was reduced significantly. Otherwise, Zhang Ergu would have been caught up long ago. "Kid, you can't escape." Qiu Yushan's spiritual force lifted his body into the air and looked down at the person and Bao escaping below. His cold voice was transmitted over. He hadn't expected that he would encounter people from the Essence sect here. At first, Qiu Yushan had only seen that the Cosmos Bao could speak human language and was rather magical. Thus, he had thought of snatching the Dao artifact. In the end, when Zhang Ergu introduced himself, he realized that the other party was actually from the Essence sect. Instantly, Qiu Yushan felt a monstrous fury surging from his heart. His killing intent could no longer be suppressed. In fact, even the wound on his chest, which had already healed, started to ache faintly again. That thunderous saber move. It had almost killed him. In the end, the Heaven Man major demon of his own race had saved him. Then, he had consumed a lot of divine medicine and his injuries had healed. Such pain. This made Qiu Yushan have a strong hatred for the Essence sect. However, previously, Marquis Baiyun had entered the Endless Mountain Range and killed the great demon of the Five Elements beast race. The power of the Almighty had deterred many demon clans, and they didn't dare to act rashly. Although the moon-devouring wolf race was strong, they were not much stronger than the Five Elements beast race. Under such circumstances, the moon-devouring wolf race wouldn't dare to rashly invade the Baiyun mansion again. Or else, if Marquis Baiyun killed his way into the Endless Mountain Range again, there wouldn't be any experts in the moon-devouring wolf race who could stop an almighty. At that time, the entire moon-devouring wolf race would suffer heavy losses. In addition, although the Essence sect wasn't very strong, it wasn't that easy to provoke either. Its sect master was a famous array master who had personally killed the envoy of the Black Abyss of the 12 Underworld Envoys. Needless to say, the other party could still be safe and sound under the assassination of the Heaven Demon Guards. Such strength, he couldn't be underestimated. So, although Qiu Yushan hated the Essence sect very much, he didn't really enter the Baiyun mansion to cause any trouble. If he wasn't careful, he would be killed too. Marquis Baiyun aside, he was no match for the sect master of the Essence sect. However, Qiu Yushan didn't have any scruples in the Fallen Moon mansion. The Essence sect elder. At the thought of this, he sneered in his heart. The person he wanted to kill was the Essence sect elder. Or else, killing a nobody wouldn't be able to relieve his hatred. Boom, boom. Two auras broke through the sky. One chased in the sky, while the other sped past below. In the blink of an eye, they had crossed the range of a true dominion. Below, Zhang Ergu's face turned from black to green because he realized that his quintessential essence couldn't take it anymore. The continuous outbursts in a short period of time consumed a lot of his quintessential essence. From the moment he had been chased until now, Zhang Ergu had crossed no less than 3 true dominions, and his quintessential essence had already reached a critical point where it was about to dry up. At this moment, the cosmic Bao couldn't stand it anymore. Why are you running to the wilderness? Don't you know how to run to those sects and cities? You showed your identity as the Essence sect elder. Are you afraid that others won't help you? Upon hearing this, Zhang Ergu's eyes lit up instantly. That's right. He had almost forgotten about this. Previously, he had been chased after announcing his identity. As a result, Zhang Ergu didn't dare to use his Essence sect name carelessly for fear of attracting more people. However, after the reminder of the cosmic Bao, he suddenly came to a realization. That's right. The Essence sect had many enemies outside. However, at the same time, many people were willing to accept the name of a top sect. Upon thinking of this, Zhang Ergu immediately changed his direction and no longer chose a remote place to escape. Take out the cloud-piercing arrow. Here you go. Upon hearing this, Zhang Ergu took out the cloud-piercing arrow from his storage ring. Then, the cloud-piercing arrow seemed to sense something and instantly merged with the cosmic Bao. Lad, you have been chasing me for so long. Take my arrow. After all, the cosmic Bao was a two-seal Dao weapon. After being chased for so long, how could he not care about his reputation? Immediately, an arrow was knocked on the Bao. A cold light pierced through the void and directly shot towards the figure in the distance. Qiu Yushan, who was originally chasing, suddenly felt a strong sense of danger. Then, he saw the cold light occupying his line of sight. Without thinking, he took out a bronze mirror. Immediately after, a layer of golden shield appeared, protecting his entire body. Boom! The cold light didn't arrive. In an instant, it pierced through the golden shield and fiercely bombarded the bronze mirror. A terrifying force exploded from within. Without thinking, Qiu Yushan propped up his protective qi, and the inner yuan in his body crazily poured into the bronze mirror. His body was also pushed back by this powerful force. In the end, the arrow's power was exhausted. It turned back into a stream of light and flew back. Zhang Erge's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. After grabbing the cloud-piercing arrow and putting it into his storage ring, he didn't stop fleeing. You want to leave? Qiu Yushan suppressed the surging qi and blood in his body. He glanced at the undamaged bronze mirror and then saw Zhang Ergu, who was only a black dot left. Immediately, the inner yuan in his body burst out, and he pushed his divine consciousness to the limit and chased after him again. The two of them, one in front and one behind. Just like that, they rampaged. Along the way, Zhang Ergu would shout at the top of his lungs as long as he saw someone. I'm an elder of the Yuan sect. Now that I'm being chased by a thief, I'll reward whoever can help me. His voice was very loud. Even in a radius of dozens of miles, one could faintly hear it. Many cultivators couldn't help but want to go over and take a look when they heard this. But then, when they saw Qiu Yushan, who was chasing in the air, they stopped in their tracks. Although the elder of the Yuan sect was famous, the person chasing after him was obviously not a good person. Since he dared to chase after the Yuan sect, he must not be afraid of the Yuan sect's power. Moreover, looking at his figure in the air, he was at least in the airborne realm or even stronger. In this way, the people that were originally planning to attack started to hesitate. Obviously, both sides were not people that ordinary cultivators could offend. Suddenly, Zhang Ergu's face turned green. It was useless. It was completely useless. Run directly to the mountain gate of a sect. They'll definitely protect you. Okay. Hearing the suggestion of the Qinkuan Bao, Zhang Ergu changed his direction slightly. It wasn't difficult to find a sect. As long as he looked in the direction with the densest spirit qi of heaven and earth, he would most likely find a sect. Chapter 373. Sect Master, something bad has happened. In the main hall of the Flying Crane sect, a deacon rushed in from the outside in shock. Bai Hengzi frowned and said unhappily, "What's the matter? Why are you panicking?" Even the elders in the main hall were shocked. At that moment, they were all looking at the deacon who had barged in unhappily. Suddenly being stared at by so many people, the deacon instantly felt immense pressure. Hearing this, he forced himself to calm down, but his tone was still extremely fast, reporting to Sect Master, a person who claims to be an elder of Yuan sect is currently being pursued by experts. He's heading towards the sect now. What? Hearing that, Bai Hengzi stood up from his seat with a shocked expression on his face. As for the other elders, their faces were filled with shock too. An elder of Yuan sect, being chased by someone. This amount of information was a bit too much. However, Bai Hengzi only hesitated for a moment before walking out of the main hall. Although he didn't know why an elder of Yuan sect was being chased. However, there was one thing that he was clear about. If the other party died in front of the Flying Crane sect's mountain gate, the Flying Crane sect would definitely not be able to get away with it. At best, they would be leaving him in the lurch. At worst, they would be indirectly killing him. Based on Bai Hengzi's understanding of these top sects, they were all domineering and tyrannical. As long as they were involved, they might be annihilated at any time. Especially Qin Shujian's reputation. Among the 13 prefectures of the Great Zhao dynasty, he wasn't considered great. As the reputation of this array formation master spread, the news of the destruction of the sect had long spread. A small conflict. It would lead to the destruction of the sect. If an elder died in front of the Flying Crane sect's mountain gate, Yuan sect would dig up the ancestral grave of the Flying Crane sect. Therefore, after hearing the news, Bai Hengzi had already made up his mind. That was that the elder of Yuan sect must not die, or rather, he must not die in the territory of the Flying Crane sect. As Bai Hengzi rushed out, The elders in the main hall couldn't sit still anymore and left the main hall one after another. Outside, Zhang Ergu was still being chased. However, he already saw the mountain gate of the Flying Crane sect. Not only that, he also saw cultivators coming out of the sect. After a rough scan of his aura, he found a few physical invulnerability realm experts. Among them, there was even a suspected peak physical invulnerability realm expert. There was almost no doubt about it. Zhang Ergu knew that these people must be the upper echelons of this sect. Furthermore, the fact that they had a peak physical invulnerability realm cultivator meant that they were considered top-notch among the sects of the True Dominion. Is the Elder of the Origin sect, by Hengzi of the Flying Crane sect, welcoming you? A strange glint flashed across by Hengzi's eyes as he looked at Zhang Ergu and the Qinghuan Bao beside him. Soon after, he cupped his hands together and said in a clear voice. The Dao artifact followed suit. As expected of the foundation of a top sect, an elder-level problem would be able to wield a Dao artifact. To think that his Flying Crane sect only had a spirit artifact guarding the sect. Even so, however, Bai Hengzi wasn't greedy at all. He knew very well what he should and shouldn't take. On the other side, upon hearing that, Zhang Ergu immediately sped up and landed in front of Bai Hengzi. Origin Sect Outer Sect Elder Zhang Ergu. Greetings, Sect Master Bai. Elder Zhang, you are too kind. The corners of Bai Hengzi's eyes twitched slightly when he heard the name Zhang Ergu. However, he recovered very quickly. If he remembered correctly, the Origin Sect used to be a bandit village. Given the standard of a bandit village, Bai Hengzi only needed to make a simple guess as to what kind of name the people inside would have. Therefore, after hearing Zhang Ergu's name, he was even more certain of his identity. Zhang Ergu said, "This time, I came to the Fallen Moon Prefecture under the orders of the sect master. However, I accidentally encountered a strong enemy. I hope that the Flying Crane sect can lend me a helping hand. I will definitely not forget Sect Master Bai's kindness." Well said. Fellow Taoists in the cultivation world should help each other. There is absolutely no reason for me to sit back and do nothing. Bai Hengzi smiled faintly as he spoke with a strong sense of righteousness. At this moment, Qiu Yushan was approaching from afar. As he was flying over, that terrifying aura had already caused Bai Hengzi's expression to change slightly. All disciples of the Flying Crane sect above the true martial realm, get ready to fight. An order was given. Immediately, many disciples of the Flying Crane sect appeared. The group of elders also stood on Bai Hengzi. Immediately after, the aura that had gathered erupted and clashed directly with Qiu Yushan. Cultivators were flying. This was the standard of the airborne realm. If they had been in the Spirit Protectorate, given the current strength of the Flying Crane sect, Bai Hengzi might not have dared to clash directly with Qiu Yushan. However, this was only the True Dominion. Inside the True Dominion, the peak true martial realm was the limit. Apart from people like Qin Shujian, who had condensed the universal skylock, anyone who reached the peak true martial realm would not be weaker than those experts at the spirit martial realm. This was the strength of the True Dominion shackles. This was also where Bai Hengzi's confidence came from. So what if one was at the airborne realm? So what if one was at the divine martial realm? A bunch of true martial realm and physical invulnerability realm cultivators were waiting here. Why would they be afraid of a mere peak true martial realm cultivator whose strength had been forcefully suppressed? Furthermore, Zhang Ergu, the outer sect elder of the Origin sect, was also present. The cosmic bow floating beside him was also a powerful killing weapon. This way, what was there to be afraid of about a cultivator with an unknown background? Boom. The air exploded. Qiu Yushan had already appeared 30 feet away from Bai Hengzi and the others. Upon seeing the many cultivators of the Flying Crane sect before him and Zhang Ergu, who was standing beside Bai Hengzi, his eyes flashed coldly. I will only take his life. The people of the Flying Crane sect had better not interfere without permission. Otherwise, it would not be worth it if your sect was destroyed in the future. Qiu Yushan pointed at Zhang Ergu and scanned the cultivators of the Flying Crane sect with a sinister gaze. Finally, his gaze stopped on Bai Hengzi. The threat in his words. It was already beyond words. Upon hearing that, Bai Hengze did not get angry. Instead, he looked at Xiao Yushan solemnly and cupped his fists slightly. As the saying goes, it is better to squash enmity than keep it alive. May I know which sect you are from? What feud do you have with Elder Zhang? There are some things that a small sect like the True Dominion has no right to interfere in. You don't dare offend the Origin sect, but do you dare offend me? Xiao Yushan glanced at him coldly and said disdainfully, "If you help the Origin sect today, the Flying Crane sect will be destroyed tomorrow. I want to see if Qin Shujian can protect the Flying Crane sect. Aren't your words a little too arrogant?" Bai Hengze's eyes flashed with anger, but his heart sank. Xiao Yushan's confident words, this made him feel uneasy. The other party had dared to chase after Zhang Ergu, so brazenly even after knowing his identity. The power behind him was definitely not weak. It might even be a top-notch sect. If this had been any other time, Bai Hengze would definitely not have gotten involved. However, it was different now. It was still the same thing. If Zhang Ergu died in the territory of the Flying Crane sect, the Flying Crane sect would not be able to stay out of this. Therefore, Bai Hengze did not have the right to stand by and do nothing. It did not matter if he helped or not. The Flying Crane sect would definitely face trouble. If he did not help, if Zhang Ergu died, the power behind the person in front of him would not remember anything good about the Flying Crane sect. When the Origin sect came, the Flying Crane sect would only have a path of death. On the contrary, if he helped save Zhang Ergu, he might offend the power behind the other person. However, he was indebted to him for saving his life. The Origin sect would most likely not sit by and watch the Flying Crane sect be destroyed. One would definitely die. One would not necessarily die. Bai Hengze had already made a decision in his heart which one to choose. When he thought of this, Bai Hengze instantly became more unyielding. He took a step forward and said proudly, "With my Flying Crane sect here today, Elder Zhang won't be able to harm a single hair on my head. Please leave." Good, good, good. The Flying Crane sect is really gutsy. Xiao Yushan was obviously smiling, but his face was frighteningly ferocious. There seemed to be some changes in the depths of his eyes. A terrifying aura erupted from his body, about to engulf the entire Flying Crane sect. You have gone overboard. As soon as Bai Hengze finished speaking, a powerful aura rose from his body and confronted Xiao Yushan. He was one of the few famous peak true martial realm experts in the True Dominion. In terms of strength, he had never been afraid of anyone in the True Dominion. Overboard? There is something even more overboard. Xiao Yushan shouted angrily. He took a step forward and pressed his palm toward Bai Hengze. When the palm landed, Bai Hengze waved his sleeve. Bai Hengze flicked his sleeve and released a powerful Gang Qi, which collided with the attack. Rumble. This was a fight. Bai Hengze's body swayed slightly, but he still stood still. Upon seeing this, Xiao Yushan did not want to waste his breath on him. He immediately took out the bronze mirror and a beam of golden light shot out of it. When the golden light beam landed, Bai Hengze was alerted. The quintessential essence in his body erupted completely while his face turned solemn. When he pointed his finger, the condensed essence of his finger transformed into a white crane and went forward. Boom! The golden beam of light fell, and the white crane in the sky disappeared without a sound. Bai Hengze's face changed drastically. He left his original spot without hesitation. Whoosh! As soon as he left, the golden light beam landed on his original spot. The ground melted and shattered silently, and a bottomless hole appeared. Today, I will exterminate the Flying Crane sect and bury you with the people of the Origin sect. Xiao Yushan let out an insolent laugh. He formed a seal with both hands, and the copper mirror flew into the air. In the blink of an eye, it grew to several feet in size. There seemed to be endless flames rising within it as terrifying golden light flickered back and forth. Meanwhile, 2 Dao seals appeared in the middle of the bronze mirror. The moment he saw the Dao seals, Bai Hengze's face changed drastically as he exclaimed, 2 seal Dao artifact. Chapter 374. 2 seal Dao artifact. For the flying crane sect that didn't even have a Tao artifact, the deterrence of a two-sealed Tao artifact was too great. Just as Bai Hengze's expression changed drastically, Qiu Yushan had already activated the Tao artifact. The bronze mirror floating in the air shone brightly. Then, thousands of rays of golden light condensed into one and blasted down. Everywhere it passed, everything melted away quietly. Everyone, back off! Bai Hengze roared. Facing the attack of a two-sealed Tao artifact, the people of the Flying Crane sect had no chance of resisting at all. But at this moment, a ray of cold light pierced through the void and blasted into the golden light. As the terrifying power exploded, the golden light shattered inch by inch. In the end, the cold light hit the bronze mirror accurately. In an instant, the bronze mirror shook violently. The flames inside rose at this moment, as if there were terrifying birds rushing out of the flames, wanting to fight the cold light. However, the cold light flew back and revealed the shape of an arrow. It fell into Zhang Ergu's hand. When Bai Hengze looked over, he saw that. At this moment, Zhang Ergu was holding a bow in one hand and a sword in the other. He looked like an expert, giving people a strong sense of shock. It's just a two-sealed Tao artifact. Sect Master Bai, you don't have to panic. Zhang Ergu smiled calmly. He wasn't trying to show off. He had already experienced the bronze mirror's means. It was just that. The power of a two-sealed Tao artifact, the cosmic bow, combined with a one-sealed Tao artifact, the cloud-piercing arrow, could be comparable to a three-sealed Tao artifact. What could a mere two-sealed Tao artifact do? This was also why. The reason why Zhang Ergu could last so long in the hands of Qiu Yushan. He had a powerful Tao artifact in hand. He could really exert a lot of advantages. Hey, I wasn't sure at first, but now I'm basically sure. It's a little monster. No wonder he dared to chase after us. At this moment, the cosmic bow in Zhang Ergu's hand suddenly spoke with an old voice. Hearing that, everyone was startled at first, then their gazes landed on Qiu Yushan. Monster. They didn't expect this at all. However, these words came from the mouth of a Tao artifact, so it was inevitable that they did not dare to easily question it. Of course, a Tao artifact that could speak was already shocking enough. As for Zhang Ergu, he did not doubt the Cosmos Bow's words at all. The more time he spent with the bow, the more he understood how extraordinary it was. His knowledge was profound. Let me say something disgraceful. Zhang Ergu felt that even his own sect master might not be able to compare to this longbow. Therefore, after hearing the bow of heaven and earth's words, Zhang Ergu's gaze towards Qiu Yushan turned cold. The corners of his mouth curled into a mocking smile. I was wondering who it was that had chased after me for so long. So it's a bastard from the Yao clan. Previously, the demon race drove the demon beasts to wreak havoc in the spirit domain of Mount Liang. I haven't settled the score with you yet, but I didn't expect you to deliver yourself to my doorstep. I heard that Marquis Baiyun went deep into the endless mountain range and killed a heavenly human demon. Could it be that your father was killed? I didn't expect that you wouldn't dare to go to the Baiyun mansion for revenge. Instead, you dared to behave atrociously outside. The courage of the demon race is really disappointing. One after another, they mocked him. Qiu Yushan's face gradually twisted. I didn't expect you to see through my identity. But even if you know, so what? I'm going to kill you. Since his identity was exposed, he decided to stop hiding. Then, Qiu Yushan's body suddenly twisted and changed into a giant silver wolf. Then, he landed on the ground, and a terrifying and ferocious aura immediately swept out in all directions. Roar, the demon race. His strongest form was his true form. Because the Fallen Moon Mansion was the territory of the human race, Qiu Yushan did not reveal his true form to be safe. He had been walking on the ground in his human form. But now that he had been exposed, there was no need to hide anymore. Qiu Yushan's strength was only at the peak of the true martial realm. Then, after revealing his true form, his strength was directly at the peak of the true martial realm. Even Bai Hengze's expression changed again when he sensed the ferocious aura. In the same realm, if the human race did not have enough divine weapons to assist them, their strength would naturally be weaker than the demon race. Only those human race who had cultivated powerful cultivation methods could be at the same realm, not be at a disadvantage when facing the demon race. As for the other people from the Flying Crane sect, many of them were terrified when they saw the giant wolf that was more than 100 feet tall. Its body was as huge as a small hill. Not everyone had the experience of hunting demon beasts. Not to mention that this was not a demon beast, but a demon race that was above demon beasts. For the disciples of the Flying Crane sect, many of them had never seen a real demon race in their entire lives. Even Bai Hengzi, it was also his first time seeing the demon race's true form with his own eyes. After all, the demon race hid in the Skyen mountain range and was protected by a large number of demon beasts. Very few people would go deep into the Skyen mountain range just to see the demon race with their own eyes. But those who did, 99%, did not have the chance to walk out. The giant silver wolf spoke in human language and said coldly, "Today, all of you will die." As soon as it finished speaking, the ground under its feet suddenly shattered, and its body suddenly shot out like a thunderbolt. A terrifying gust of wind rushed toward Bai Hengzi's face. Bai Hengzi instinctively raised his protective energy to block it. Bang! The huge claw that was as big as a millstone bombarded the protective energy and instantly shattered it. The powerful aftershock spread out. Bai Hengzi grunted, and his body moved away from its original position. At the same time, the giant claw fell and shattered the mountain rocks under his feet. Buzz! In the sky, flames rose from the bronze mirror and turned into a firebird that swooped down as if it was going to swallow everyone. Before Zhang Ergu could make a move, the cosmic bow and the piercing cloud arrow broke free from his grip and immediately charged toward the firebird. During this time, it had been chased by Qiu Yushan for a long time. Even though it was a Dao artifact, it could not help but feel angry. Part of its anger came from Qiu Yushan. Part of it came from Zhang Ergu. If it were not for the fact that Qiu Yushan was too weak, he would not have ended up being chased. If he was slightly stronger, with its help, he would be able to beat his opponent into a retreat. However, it was different now. Qiu Yushan had the Flying Crane sect and Zhang Ergu to deal with him. The cosmic bow had decided to show the bronze mirror who had the bigger fist. Boom! The arrow flew out and instantly dispersed the firebird. The bronze mirror shook violently. Thousands of golden lights poured down from it and intertwined into a death net that suppressed the cosmic bow. Heaven and earth spirit chi gathered. The cosmic bow first condensed all the heaven and earth spirit chi into one. When the bowstring was released, the spirit arrow shot out and instantly turned into thousands of arrows that bombarded the thousands of golden lights. The two Dao artifacts clashed. His aura was even more terrifying than that of a cultivator at the limit of the true martial realm. The moment the golden lights and the spirit arrow disappeared, the piercing cloud arrow pierced through the air and went straight for the bronze mirror. In an instant, endless flames appeared on the bronze mirror and tightly wrapped around it. When the piercing cloud arrow shot out, it happened to block it. On the other side, after Qiu Yushan revealed his demon race body, he directly charged towards Zhang Ergu. He revealed his demon race body. Although his strength was not as strong as a true martial realm expert who had condensed a universal heavenly lock, it was not too far off. On the other side, the other disciples of the Flying Crane sect had already retreated. With Bai Hengzi as the leader and a group of physical invulnerability realm elders behind him, they worked together to deal with Qiu Yushan. If the Flying Crane sect had any scruples and was worried about the top power behind Qiu Yushan, then now, he no longer had the slightest scruple. The demon race. Since ancient times, they had an unresolvable enmity with the human race. Even if they stood on the side of racial justice, there was no possibility of reconciliation between the two sides. Even if the Flying Crane sect killed this demon here today, they were not afraid of the power behind him seeking revenge, because this was the Fallen Moon Manor. Even if the Fallen Moon Marquis had rebelled and the Fallen Moon Manor was no longer under the control of the Great Zhao Empire, it was still the Fallen Moon Manor of the human race. Just this point alone, they would not allow the demon race to behave atrociously. Bam! The astral chi shattered and Zhang Ergu's body retreated. Before Qiu Yushan's huge wolf claw could touch him, it was blocked by the others. A second later, Zhang Erge's body, which had just retreated, exploded once again. Quintessential essence condensed in his palm and attacked the other party. Boom! The silver-white huge wolf retreated a few steps. Clearly, it was not easy for him to take Zhang Ergu's palm strike head-on. The other party had been chased for a long time. In terms of strength, in the True Dominion, he was comparable to the peak True Martial Realm. The battle between the two sides continued. Although the power created was not vast, the commotion was not small either. Naturally, it attracted the attention of other cultivators. However, the Flying Crane sect was a True Dominion sect after all. Nobody dared to go near the battle that was taking place within their territory. The astral chi shattered. A Flying Crane sect elder could not dodge in time and took Qiu Yushan's attack directly. His entire body flew out. Under the terrifying explosion of power, he spat out mouthfuls of blood. He was already out of breath and did not look like he would survive. Elder Gong, Bai Hengzi shouted angrily. However, this did not stop the attack. Instead, while the other party was seriously injuring an elder, his storage ring flashed and a spirit weapon long sword appeared in his hand. A second later, the long sword pierced through. Accompanied by a painful howl, a huge wound appeared on the right side of Qiu Yushan's abdomen. Dark green blood gushed out from the wound. Elders, today, my Flying Crane sect shall slay this evil here. Bai Hengzi held the sword in one hand as killing intent rose from his body. Blood was still dripping from the long sword. As soon as he finished speaking, he disappeared from his original spot with a step. The long sword emitted waves of cold light. The strong physical body of the demon clan was completely useless in front of a middle-grade spirit weapon. Kill. Zhang Ergu was also filled with killing intent. When he attacked with his palm, a black palm aura shot out in the air. Then, it expanded to a size of several feet. The power that was strong enough to split stones made Qiu Yushan's eyelids twitch. In the face of such an attack, Qiu Yushan made the most reasonable response immediately. Chapter 375. Escape. In the face of the powerful strength of the Flying Crane sect and the pressure from Zhang Ergu, Qiu Yushan finally chose to retreat. Because he would die if he did not retreat. However, as he retreated, he held the copper mirror that had been shot down by the cosmos bow in his mouth and fled into the distance. Sect Master Bai, please inform the various sects of the True Dominion to stop this demon from escaping. Zhang Ergu had just finished his sentence when he chased after Qiu Yushan. Upon hearing that, Bai Hengzi also understood Zhang Ergu's intentions. He immediately asked the Flying Crane sect's elder to notify the various experts, while he took the lead and followed closely behind Zhang Ergu. It had to be said, after recovering his Demon Clan true body, Qiu Yushan's speed was much faster than before. However, the cosmic bow kept attacking him from behind. Qiu Yushan had no choice but to reduce his speed in the face of such a Dao weapon. Then, he retreated while defending himself against the Dao weapon's attacks. Wolf Cub, you had so much fun chasing Master Zhang. Why are you running away now? Zhang Ergu mocked him as he chased after him. Every dog had its day. Now, it was finally Master Zhang's turn to show his prowess. Old Qian, shoot him. Shoot him to death. Today, I will take his wolf skin and make a jacket. Zhang Ergu shouted excitedly. The cosmic bow did not want to bother with Zhang Ergu anymore. The spirit chi of heaven and earth gathered as the spirit arrow shot forward. Qiu Yushan stopped and took out the bronze mirror in his mouth to block the spirit arrow. Then, he escaped again with the bronze mirror in his mouth. However, this went on for a while. Gradually, the two of them caught up to him. Soon, Qiu Yushan stopped. Bai Hengzi of the Flying Crane sect was in front of him, while Zhang Ergu of the Sky Origin sect was behind him. Beside him, a Dao weapon was eyeing him covetously. All of a sudden, Qiu Yushan felt a little pressured. As for the injury on his abdomen, it had healed significantly over time. However, due to his intense escape, it had not healed completely and blood was still dripping. Let me go. or the moon-devouring wolf clan will flatten the fallen moon manor. He still did not give in. Hearing this, before Bai Hengze could reply, Zhang Ergu sneered and said, "If any of your moon-devouring wolf clan dares to step foot into the territory of the human race, I guarantee that they won't be able to return alive." You? So what if I am? Zhang Ergu sneered. Even if he lost, he didn't want to lose face. After all, he didn't have to pay for boasting. At this time, the most important thing was to put on a good show of face and not lose face in front of others. Bai Hengze said, "Elder Zhang, why are you wasting your breath on this demon? Let's kill him now. The moon-devouring wolf clan won't have the guts to come to the fallen moon mansion." All right. The two of them looked at each other. In the next instant, a powerful attack burst out and surrounded Qiu Yushan. In the endless mountain range, suddenly, an earth-shattering roar resounded through the world. "How dare a human kill my son? You're courting death." Then, they saw a giant wolf that was 1,000 feet tall rise into the sky from the endless mountain range. Many members of the moon-devouring wolf tribe were howling below, causing the other demon tribes to turn pale. What happened? Even Supremacy-devouring Moon was alerted. Tisk, could it be that a human killed Supremacy-devouring Moon's son? Looks like there's a good show to watch. In the endless mountain range, the demon tribe experts were chatting with each other with their divine thoughts. They looked at Supremacy-devouring Moon, who was leaving in the air, and smiled playfully. The demon clan was not a monolithic entity either. There were many conflicts between each of them. Now that there was a problem with the moon-devouring wolf clan, many demon tribes were waiting to watch the show. However, there were also some demon tribes who were cautious about this. Although the moon-devouring wolf clan was not a top clan, they were not weak either. Supremacy-devouring Moon was a heavenly human demon. It was rumored that his strength had reached the Demon King level. With such strength, he was one of the top in the entire demon tribe. At this moment, he left the moon-devouring wolf clan's territory in anger, which would definitely cause a huge commotion. Perhaps, they might even be implicated as well. On the other side, after killing Qiu Yushan, Zhang Ergu did not leave immediately. Instead, he stayed in the Flying Crane sect for a while. Although he killed the demon tribe, he did not gain much from the demon tribe's counterattack before he died. He also suffered serious injuries. Staying in the Flying Crane sect was considered a temporary recovery. However, during this period, Zhang Ergu went to the nearest city and found Yuanzong's shop. Then, he directly sent back the information that happened here. Yuanzong's influence was not small now. It was not only in the Baiyun Mansion. Even in the other mansions outside the Baiyun Mansion, there would be Yuanzong shops in almost every city. The purpose was to send back information in time to avoid too much delay. As for the method of communication, almost all of the messages were sent back through the communication jade talisman, one after another. This way, the security would be higher. The speed would also be faster. During this period, Qin Shujian did not go anywhere. He wandered around the city like a wanderer and rarely used his cultivation. Every day, he seemed to be able to have different insights. The compatibility between the spiritual deity and the physical body was getting higher and higher. He seemed to have a better understanding of the 9th level of the spiritual martial arts section of the Gue Yuan ancestral code. However, Qin Shujian did not deliberately break through. He was just like the cultivators in the legends. Every day, he only picked a wisp of Eastern purple qi and mixed it into the mortal world, allowing it to hone his spiritual deity. However, this method was different from the real wandering in the mortal world. Now he could only be said to be standing on the edge of the mortal world and not really going deep into it. With his current realm, he had not reached the stage where he needed to really train his heart in the mortal world. On this day, Qin Shujian had just swallowed a wisp of Eastern purple qi when the storage ring moved. Following his thought, Yizichen moved. A communication jade talisman fell into his hand. When his divine thought fell, the information in it was also transmitted to his mind. Demon tribe, moon-devouring wolf tribe. Qin Shujian put down the communication jade talisman and whispered softly. He did not expect Zhang Ergu could still be attacked by the demon tribe in the Fallen Moon Mansion. Compared to the fact that no demon tribe dared to step into the Bayun Mansion now, it was not strange that there were still demon tribes in the other manors. However, the people of the Yuan sect were chasing after him. Qin Shujian could not take this matter to heart. Fallen Moon Mansion. Qin Shujian's eyes flickered slightly as he thought to himself, forget it. Since the spiritual deity and the physical body have merged, there is no need to continue staying here. In this case, I will go to the Fallen Moon Mansion. There was no other reason. He simply felt that this matter was not simple. Moreover, his own sect elder was attacked and injured. As the sect master, he could not really ignore it. As for Zhang Ergu, Qin Shujian still valued him. Apart from the other party's ability, as the first person he met in this world, he still had a good impression of him. Thinking of this, Qin Shujian got down from the bed and asked the waiter to bring him a basin of hot water. He simply washed up. However, just as the waiter was about to leave with the water, Qin Shujian suddenly called out to him. "What's your name?" "My name is Ningbo." The waiter, who was also Ningbo, turned around and answered, but there was a faint excitement on his face. After such a long time, this master finally asked for his name. With Ningbo's many years of experience in observing people, the other party must have noticed something. Perhaps the turning point of his life was at this moment. Even so, but he still remained calm. Ningbo did not like to lose his composure and caused the opportunity to slip away. Ningbo, not a bad name. Qin Shujian first repeated it, then nodded slightly. "Do you know who I am?" "This little one does not know." "You are very good." Qin Shujian smiled. The storage ring flashed, and a token appeared in his hand behind his back. He then casually threw it on the table. "I know very well what you are thinking in your heart. Since you want to change so much, I will give you this opportunity." While they were talking, Qin Shujian pointed to the token on the table and said, "Take this token and go to the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain Yuan sect. You will get what you want." However, the journey to the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain is long. Perhaps with your strength, you will not be able to reach it in your lifetime. You may even lose your life on the way. The specific choice is up to you. Finished. Qin Shujian took a step forward and disappeared from the room. Master. When Ningbo saw the scene in front of him, how could he not understand that he had met an expert in the cultivation world? When he looked at the token on the table, not far away, he immediately put down the copper basin in his hand, walked up quickly, and took the token in his hand. In his hand, there was a heavy feeling. However, Ningbo did not care about this. All of his attention was on the token in his hand. On the copper token, there was an inscription. There were strange patterns engraved on it, and there were two words that he did not recognize. Ningbo's face was filled with excitement. The hand that was holding the token was tightly holding onto it, and the veins on his arm were popping out. The cultivation world. I also have a chance to enter the cultivation world. After a short period of excitement, Ningbo quickly calmed down. He actually did not know where the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain was, because the Bayun Mansion was too big, so big that many people might not even leave their own area in their lifetime. It was just as the other party had said. The journey to the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain was definitely long. With his identity as an ordinary person, it would definitely be difficult for him to reach it. Perhaps, if he encountered some bandits or beasts on the way, he would immediately lose his life. The token in his hand could be an opportunity, but it could also be a death sentence. How to choose? It all depended on Ningbo's own thoughts. He stood motionless in his original spot, his expression constantly changing. After a long time, Ningbo put the token into his pocket. He had already made his decision. Later, he would go to the shopkeeper to settle the payment. Then, he would find out the location of the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain and make preparations to go there. Compared to wasting his life, Ningbo was more willing to give it his all. Perhaps, he was not a person who was content with his lot. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.